It all truly began when the gods of this vast universe decided then to engage all planets now inhabited fully by intelligent beings here in a fearsome battle to the utter death. The losing planets would be immediately erased without a trace at all. Our main character's name now is Jihan, and he has acquired the SSS-ranked martial arts skill of a god indeed, but he truly has not been able to fully unlock its immense potential. The rest of all the humans were just too weak then, and sadly lost the fierce battle against the orc. Only our MC survived it, but Earth still sadly lost then, and the utter deletion process began when the entire planet disappeared. Only Jihan remained there, whose great skill resisted deletion full. This unique ability quickly caught the attention of the gods themselves, and they all decided to give him a true second chance to unlock the full vast potential of his great skill. In great addition, he received a broken system too, that allows him now to level up many times faster than the other. He also then gained access to an achievement store indeed, where he surely can buy unique special items, and gain further new abilities with the points he soon earned. Precisely when Jihan startles fully awake now, the very first thing he hears are the muffled voices of a television screen nearby. He groggily wakes right up and tries hard to remember exactly what happened. The very last thing he remembered then was indeed reading directly from the system, was that he surely would be returned to the league's initial first entry era. He takes just a moment to closely check his present surrounding, and immediately recognizes quite exactly where he finds himself now. He's at the very top of the building he definitely used to live in. Back in 2020, they're in South Korea now. There were absolutely no monsters destroying the peaceful streets back then, or any life-threatening games truly going on at all, and kids even playfully played on the sidewalk, imitating the Sword King himself. Yoon Sejin indeed. Jihan now fully realizes that he really was teleported right back to times of peace, with absolutely no warning whatsoever, just to surely make certain now. He calls for his status window soon, to see if all his abilities have been reset again. As well, he clearly has been returned right back to level 2 once more, which fully confirms that he is now truly back in time now. At the very point where he first entered the league now, he has truly no idea what's going on at all yet, but this is the perfect golden opportunity for him indeed. If he now uses the information from his distant past life, then there's a distinct chance that he can change the future now, and he absolutely must change it so he can protect everyone this time around again. With all the knowledge of the game's true end, he will surely make sure that everything is quite different. This time, back in the exact year 2020 again, Korea indeed had a solid standing overall, and they even had someone who topped the charts in sheer terms of strength. Among the world's absolute top players then, there were precisely 11 considered to be the best fighter, and among these very 11 formidable players, there was notably one defending third place strongly. He truly is a man with dazzling raw strength, that can swiftly take out a dozen players with a single attack move. That incredible man is indeed the Sword King Yoon Sejin, and he's certainly the key reason that Korea had an unshakable hold title as one of the world's strongest countries overall without a doubt. He truly is the pride and treasure of Korea now, and thanks to his grand participation in the BattleNet that he rightfully earned the title of the strongest warrior still, and Korea was certainly able to retain the higher ranks within Northeast Asia then. At the very least, they were able to do just that truly, until that fateful day that Jihan had coincidentally been reincarnated now. On that very day, Yoon Sejin then personally announced that he has fully decided to change his given name to Ryohina and officially naturalize as a Japanese citizen. So it should have just been a normal day in July 2020 but truly, on that particular day now, Korean BattleNet received the biggest shock in all of its history. In fact, Jihan always deeply hated looking at the grim face of the man that practically doomed Korea to utter ruin right after Yoon Seo-jin fully left. Korea quickly fell into a great chaos state. They swiftly went from holding the higher ranks in BattleNet then, to constantly facing repeated defeats now, and ultimately, eventually, they severely fell through the ranks within the entire league at a frightening, alarming pace indeed. People quite blindly hoped that there truly wouldn't be a huge change within the ranking, and they thought that there were still a lot of quite bright and promising young people existing in the country who can help Korea at least remain in the top 20. With that sad kind of defeatist mindset, truly, it's no big wonder they failed so incredibly badly. No one even appeared to make up for Yoon Sejin's sudden absence, and things only simply got far worse over some time. Things surely would have been so different if there were a little more time then, but the brutal BattleNet was way truly too brutal. Once the serious Space League truly started, things even became way more serious indeed in the beginning. The BattleNet used to be treated like a simple game, but the Space League turned the game into an all-out war now for survival. If someone happened to lose their life in that game, then they really would also lose their life even in reality. Monsters also suddenly appeared in countries that sadly fell to the lower rank, and a truly one-sided massacre indeed would take place in those very countries. After Yoon Sejin left then and Korea sadly fell to the lower rank, it was unfortunately eventually completely destroyed. Those who had survived then gathered and began to say that that. If only the Sword King had stayed behind, then Korea surely would have had a very different ending. That's really just how important the Sword King truly was. And to top it all off now, he is Jihan's brother-in-law indeed. To vent out his building anger, Jihan smashes a family picture of Yoon Seo-jin, hanging prominently in the living room now. Jihan still wonders why his sister loves someone like Yoon Seo-jin so much, and just how different things would have truly been if she were still alive. Now that he's finally done reminiscing about his past, it's truly time to figure out what he should do in the present now. It's great that he came back to the past again, but right now, his stats are way too pathetic and low. In his younger years before the Space League event, he spent all of his free time drinking and gambling away all his money then. He didn't even know just how incredible his unique gift was at the time at all. A gift truly is a special talent then, given to a player once they fully reach the adult age of 18. There were only a small number of lucky players who received a gift then, and since Jihan was unlucky enough to receive the very lowest ranked gift net, an F rank, he indeed used his ability to predict the winner in games then, and gambled as a living. He didn't quite know back then truly just how incredibly valuable his skill would end up truly being, since it's a skill that reveals itself only after its very awakening. That aside now though, that doesn't really change the fact that his stats are quite horrible, and that these kinds of stats truly should belong to a level 1 player specifically. However, in a very drunken state now, he ended up mistakenly drinking an experience potion entirely, thinking that it was alcohol, and that in turn made him level up fast. Weirdly enough though, he also surprisingly has a lot of achievement points now. Aside from the harsh fact that they are indeed useless and not worth any money at all, Jihan is quite sure that he didn't accomplish anything much before he even entered the league really. So it's quite weird that he has all these many points then. It's definitely possible that all these changes have now taken place, because he regressed perhaps. For now though, now he decides now to check his inventory briefly, and something within there immediately catches his very eye surely. It's clearly an achievement points exchange coupon here, which gives special benefits indeed to the very last survivor, who chose to challenge the game once again. Obviously this was made specially just for him, and it's a rank X item, which truly means it's incredibly useful and quite rare. He utilizes it immediately without delay, and the system fully activates an achievement store just for him. The store has things that are exclusive only to him for sale right now, and it definitely can even be upgraded higher. With a certain total amount of achievement points in hand, he will most certainly likely get even more options to choose from fully if he upgrades it further, and he really needs to buy something that he can start actively using right away indeed. There's simply not a vast lot of choices at all in the store for it, so he ultimately gives in and tries to start upgrading it upward. The level 2 expansion really doesn't give anything particularly useful to him yet, so he upgrades further it to level 3, and once again so far, it's still not very useful to him currently with only 50,000 points now left. If he just upgrades the store further to level 4 soon, then he will only essentially have 10,000 points now left afterward. The significantly higher he upgrades the store overall, the much more expensive it will become indeed to upgrade it once again later. So, ultimately, he's only got two real choices here. He can either buy all of the actual items that are available to him right now outright, or gamble all his points and upgrade directly to level 4 overall. He truly has always been a hardcore gambler at heart, so, the choice is rather obvious actually. He upgrades his store to achievement level 4 indeed, and immediately his risky actions fully pay off quite nicely. The very next level unlocks a special item called Urgent Restoration outright. It readily allows him to repair various other items easily, from a faulty state of disrepair to a perfect working state then. Good outcomes like these certainly are why he just can't stop gambling away. How exactly can he possibly stop now, when he keeps hitting the massive jackpot over and over again? Now that he has fully gotten this god tier ability now, it's time truly for the real test of all his special ability. He heads now to a room elsewhere within the massive penthouse plate, and simply uses his thumb to unlock full access to a very special area now. It's Yoon Sejin's private playing room overall, and Jihan himself is almost even surprised that this system still readily recognizes him as a family member at all, even though the true owner of the room isn't around anymore now. That truly aside now, there's really no reason for him to complain about a free gift just like this. He opens up the very inventory of the BattleNet connector you see, and finds exactly precisely what he was looking for here. It's an item rather called Dongfang Shua's spoiled brush here, and it's an A rank item that even the inventory describes as quite useless. But with just a little assistance from his new urgent restoration tool indeed, he's able to repair it and turn it right back into exactly what he wants. So, the A rank spoiled brush now becomes an SS rank item that holds firmly a link to the martial god then. Before he can admire fully his handiwork just though, a notification swiftly pops up there, informing him directly that the tutorial for the Gangnam Now Bronze League will soon begin to start now. There's only about 10 seconds left before he will be summoned to the arena soon, so Jihan indeed has no time at all to waste now. He quickly calls for his status window then, and uses the brush to mess lightly with his stats so, the simple reason that he was able to rise quickly up and become no that 7 in the whole world in his past playthrough surely was because of an innate ability that eventually led him indeed to being called the Martial Saint. This unique stat combines his raw strength, agility and total HP attributes now into just one, and it's presently called martial power now. The brush itself was abandoned because it was utterly spoiled, but thankfully thanks to it he can now finally start his awakening. He finishes all writing just as the countdown timer ends, and he's forcefully logged in and instantly summoned to the Battle Net League. The very mission of this Bronze League tutorial truly is survive, and the players now are meant to survive bravely against monsters of the Colosseum, along with approximately 100 other total players. Once exactly half of the players remain alive, the tense survival game will come to its end, and the winners then will be decided. Jihan Hurdle quickly checks his status window as soon as he's summoned there, and he's quite thankful to see that somehow indeed he managed to truly do it. He obtained martial power wholly and thanks much to it now. He even remarkably gained 1000 achievement points now as a noble reward. This truly is just the very first step now in his ultimate long-term goal of definitely getting the nameless divine art ultimately. But just even with this soul upgrade alone, he truly should easily be able to breeze through the Bronze League now. The system also readily warns him that he is connected to the BattleNet that, without a connector so purely because of that fact, he will suffer a full 100% of the pain within the game. Jihan remembers quite this from before the Space League started full. During the whole tutorial period in time, people were actually able to reduce pain by simply buying connectors then. The one that his brother-in-law has, Yoon Sejin, used was truly a high-end product that reduced pain by up to 99% then. Jihan plans quite to make good use of that item later on actually, but for now then, he has to manage without it in the entire game. The achievement menu quite opens up full, and it reveals very clearly to him that he has now a limited quest. He certainly is to achieve number 1 in the tutorial itself, and as a reward that, he will be given about 1000 achievement points in total now. This quest didn't even exist in his past life before, but clearing just this quest will be quite easy for him now, thanks to certainly the help of martial power that he had. The full game eventually starts up. And not even literally a second after the notification is fully given, someone suddenly rushes at him quickly from behind, sword now raised high. The surprise attacker indeed. Looks like he's rushing quickly to catch a newbie off guard here, and get a free and easy kill for himself. But he's quite surprised when Jihan manages to easily stop the attack now, with absolutely nothing but 2 fingers here. The man can't even pull his own sword back, and Jihan turns to him slowly. Then he even thanks the man for being generous truly, enough to willingly give away the first kill now. This is easily the most enjoyable content in the entire game, and that is the awesome ability to mercilessly slaughter people too. Another thing in this world that completely changed drastically, with the incredible introduction of the Battle Net system, is the addition of many guilds here now. Guilds are simply groups of people that train and manage players diligently, and everyone around the world is incredibly interested greatly in the Battle Net, because of that exact reason now. Each country puts their resources fully into fostering strong players, and well-known enterprises as well. Also aggressively invested funds in the growth of the great player, allowing both large and small guilds to be established easily in South Korea. Thanks solely to that, Korea has surely been able to train strong players quite early in the league. The Gangnam Bronze League is a place where rising stars of each strong guild made their debut then. In this particular Gangnam League match now, an aspiring young player is summoned now to the Colosseum, just exactly like the rest of the eager player, and he's trying his very best not to be nervous really. This potential cannon fodder is named Do Hyuk-gyu exactly, and he considers himself to be luckier definitely than anyone else. After all, he's right with the Divergent Guild now, which is managed fully by the Divergent group there. This famous guild is known very well for having many rising stars truly, and the ordinary young man there, Do Hyokyu, was able to join this impressive guild finally after obtaining a rank gift. Agility indeed. Only a very small minority of people can obtain a rank gift actual, and thanks to it he's quite sure that he can make it into the top 50 now. Now the very first step is finding out clearly who his opponent is going to be then. His very eyes scan the crowd, and all he can see are powerful knights now. Brutish warriors, indeed, and scary-looking monsters too. Faced directly with these many options here, does Hyukyu bravely make the firm decision to completely ignore them all, and turn away quickly, as if he didn't see a single thing now? After all, staying alive truly is the most important thing for survival now, and the other players are staring right at him, as if they can smell his intense fear. If he gets eliminated for just messing around right off the very bat here, then that most certainly would be absolutely embarrassing indeed. Looking around now, most of the players seem to be from major guilds you see, and they all certainly have quite good equipment it appeared. Being here just doesn't even feel like being in the Bronze League at all now. Among the crowd though indeed. He now notices someone indeed, that looks quite out of place there. Among all the other rising stars right there now, he's wearing just a wife-beater top only, sweatpants as well, and he has no shoes or any equipment to speak of at all truly. Do Hyukyu then wonders now if this person even plans to participate in the Bronze League at all, maybe, or rather, if he was summoned entirely by accident. He must definitely be a newbie who got summoned by mistake now, which also means quite clearly that he's a free kill. Easy kill indeed. Haki readies himself now and prepares sharply to strike, while also praising whatever luck he now had for gifting him such an easy kill, it seemed, right out of the gate too. As soon as the system notifies everyone that the game has started now, Haki wastes absolutely no time now and rushes in fast to deliver the finishing blow on the unsuspecting newbie right now, except to his utter surprise. In fact, not only did the newbie block his full attack, he did so with merely 2 fingers there. It makes no real sense that someone who seems truly so out of place could keep up so easily with his A-rank agility ability skill. Before he can even properly process what's now going on, Jihan flings him sharply aside with barely any effort shown, tossing him far to the side like he's completely lightweight indeed. Jihan mocks him bluntly for coming here to participate in the Bronze League match with a simple gift like basic agility. That truly pisses off Hyukyu, who can't quite accept that his A-rank ability is being insulted now by someone who looks like a beggar. Maybe Jihan is only full of himself after all, because he managed to block just a single attack there. In that precise case now, Hyukyu plans to teach him a good lesson by charging up his fastest speed yet. It certainly looks like the player is planning to come straight at Jihan with all that he's totally got. And RMC is clearly forced to admit that even his speed from just before isn't really something to take lightly at all. Hyukyu comes really charging and going straight for Jihan's neck area, but RMC successfully manages now to dodge the swift attack, dodging down quite low before it can truly connect up. But these relentless attacks surely aren't quite done yet, and Hyukyu comes right at him with another sharp attack and another once more. All of his fierce attacks are quite easily dodged, but that doesn't mean at all that Jihan is really having the best time now. He's quite used to fighting with much higher stats, but now his very mind has to adjust now to being back in a level 2 player's body. Hyukyu truly isn't even that fast, you see. It's actually Jihan who is rather slow at the moment, which clearly means that this fight simply won't be as easy as he made it out to be original. However, even with all of that in mind though, as someone who definitely has experienced countless fights prior, the overall trajectory of his ambitious attacker is just too simplistic here, and remarkably obvious now. Hyukyu comes in for another large forceful attack it seems, and Jihan truly is done dodging now. Perhaps this specific time he smacks the weapon right out of his attacker's hand quickly, causing the sword to go wildly flying in the air suddenly. Then before Hyukyu can fully even process just what happened this time, Jihan quickly jumps high into the air now, catching the sword quite swiftly and then stabbing it directly through his opponent's neck swiftly, finally fully ending the rather intense fight here. Hyukyu falls hard to the ground, and as his body sadly fades away in defeat now, he sincerely promises that the very next time that he and Jihan run into each other once again, that he's definitely going to win overall, which causes Jihan to sigh in grief a bit, and it sincerely really puts into clear perspective how remarkably nice this world truly is overall. Even when he's seemingly quite dead, he's still vividly talking about his next epic battle always. The system then pops up promptly and informs him that he has indeed taken the very first kill in the tutorial now, and he thereby obtains 100 achievement points for it right away. The sword unfortunately disappears immediately, since the player that owns it has died after all. RMC doesn't really need a sword though, and now that he surely has gotten a pretty decent warm-up overall, it's indeed time for him to move on to the very next battle now. First, he surely has to secure more than 5 kills to get a good position definitely. In this mission is he expected for sure though. No one else is going after the monsters in the battle.net arena. Apart from the players, there are monsters present too, but one single monster kill is only worth 0.1 of a player kill actual, meaning that you would obviously have to kill 10 monsters even for just a single player kill to even be counted indeed. Because of that very fact, most people avoided the monsters entirely then, especially in this situation, where the monsters are common mobs like orcs now. Going directly after them would be utterly stupid then, but it certainly looks like the system perhaps likes stupid because it seems to gives him a brand new quest now to kill all 30 orcs in the Colosseum arena. Hunting mere monsters is definitely quite inefficient, but he's getting 500 achievement points as a reward still, which is a good 5 times more than the reward actual he got precisely for getting that very first kill now. If that's indeed the case, then there's no real reason not to go after the orcs now. These basic NPC monsters are nothing compared to a true real orc anyway here, so it shouldn't be much of a problem specifically for him still, since there's simply nothing holding him right back now. He decides to go truly all out on the unsuspecting monsters then. The orcs initially can't quite believe that there's an almost naked human now running right towards them at absolutely full speed here, but they quickly recover and gather together to try hard and kill him swift. The first two that happen to be closest throw their axes directly at him now, in hopes of cutting him right down before he even gets really close but Jihan is definitely able to catch the axes with distinct ease too, and then throw them back properly at them, killing multiple orcs right with a single hit even. That actually causes the rest to go directly into a total frenzy then, but Jihan is already definitely on the move there, running swiftly right past all of them there, and appearing directly right in the middle of them all now. Then with one mighty swing of the second axe itself, several orc heads go flying high up there. But our main MC isn't quite done yet now. He has indeed only killed 5 orcs so far too, and the remaining 25 don't look too pleased by his swift action. They are even much more motivated to kill him currently, but sadly they are just simply no match for him still. He moves far faster than they all can keep up along with, and his extensive battle experience clearly shows up heavily here though. Another fierce orc rushes quickly in with a spear in hand, determined fully to kill Jihan very quickly now, but his weapon is quite easily caught and then broken clean, leaving him standing totally confused and quite dazed right now, as our awesome MC goes swiftly in to cut him down hard with his axe except the axe unexpectedly breaks apart as he tries to attack the stunned orc. That certainly fills the orcs with a bit more confidence currently, and they confidently think now that his main weapon is fully broke, they should really have an easier time indeed dealing with him finally. All the orcs rush fiercely at him now, and Jihan gives them credit indeed for being so persistent still, but truly no matter how much they try now, he's just much too much for them to even take on him. He stomps hard on the ground with his powerful foot, and the massive shockwave alone is enough then to break apart the ground itself, sending all the orcs that were running headlong towards him flying afar. Then immediately he jumps high into the air now, and quickly grabs the weapons that went flying wildly from the orcs' hand, as they were violently pushed back hard, and in mere seconds, he dashes swiftly through the entire crowd there, killing even more orcs quite brutally in the process. The grim slaughter continues fiercely, and more orcs continue to fall rapidly until there's ultimately only one left standing. The very last orc now is simply too frozen to move at all, but clearly at this point here, he finally realizes indeed that Jihan is truly more of a monster than they are themselves, as he fully realizes that Jihan swiftly takes him out as well now, successfully clearing this daunting quest indeed. The system promptly hands him the full 500 achievement points that were promised before, and he also leveled up swiftly from the tough fight. Leveling up mid-game is quite unusual, though, since experience is usually carefully calculated at the very end of the game, but this might be just because he is still at a low level for now. No matter what the true reason however, Jihan surely doesn't complain at all, and takes the golden opportunity to level up his crucial stats while he definitely can. And if there's one key stat that he wants to give the absolute most priority to now, it's martial power indeed. Martial power combines exactly 3 major stats altogether, and even if other brave people were to upgrade just one of those stats at a time, a single level more in martial power is able to greatly double your ability, at the bare minimum of course. There's also another strong reason why martial power is very special to Jihan in particular, and that's definitely because once he hits level 30 in martial power itself, then he has an incredible chance to obtain the unnamed divine arts eventually. If he ultimately wants to get much stronger, then he surely has to obtain the unnamed divine arts quite as soon as physically possible. However, there's a rather fatal flaw to this vital stat itself, and that's simply the harsh fact that it's truly not easy at all to increase martial power much. Normally, you certainly would have to gain an assortment of intense battle experience and also training in order to increase the martial power stat overall, and points can only increase the maximum growth rate itself. However, this very time, for some unknown reason now, the martial power level actually sharply increases then. That's really great for him, and Jihan isn't exactly sure how it all happened here, but if it continues to increase just like this indeed, then his fervent hope of becoming the strongest might actually be quite possible later. There's absolutely no time for him to simply loiter around idly, and this entire place is still a chaotic battlefield after all now. As he's closely looking through his stats closely, an enemy archer suddenly shoots an arrow directly at him there, which he very easily predicts and somehow manages to dodge quickly. The archer is partnered up firmly with a warrior in fancy-looking equipment now, and they are both quite clearly looking down on Jihan right now. The girl calmly tells her partner to just wrap things up extremely quickly here, and the confident, knowing smiles on their faces show clearly that they indeed think they are going to easily deal with him swift. It's certainly not unusual at all for two people to team up in any battle here. This ongoing survival game is fully intended to be PvP truly, but there's absolutely no rule here saying that participants cannot work together well. The logo right on their clothes also clearly shows that they are within the top 10 guilds indeed in Korea, the esteemed Turtle Guild. The real trouble with this matchup is the very pairing of the two, a warrior coupled with an archer. Is a combination indeed of short and then long-ranged attacker. The mere fact that they are now on the same team also means this won't be easy at all for Jihan to fully take care of by any wild stretch of the imagination really. A crucial notification pops right up, informing him clearly that there are merely 60 survivors left, and the whole tutorial is actually about to end. So very many people have sadly died already, and now with the tutorial close to ending, all Jihan simply has to do is just dodge the fierce attacks from this very pair, and he surely should be able to safely survive till the very end. But what if the two of them came to really specifically kill him? Then he certainly must look like an easy target truly to them. As Jihan thoughtfully tries to figure out what exactly to do with these two, they both are so confident indeed in themselves that the warrior even asks the night out soon for dinner, just if he kills Jihan. Right just before the intense fight starts now, Jihan quickly checks the scoreboard and sees he's barely in first place now. With 4 kills, that means if he manages to swiftly eliminate these two, then it will absolutely guarantee his top rank. To properly start off, he keenly goes after the archer first, killing her outright, while she's still in the middle of being targeted by the warrior. With his martial power stat currently now at a strong level 6, they really have no chance at all against him here. The warrior is quite in shock that his partner died so easily now, but he doesn't even really have a chance to fully process what's occurring, as Jihan fiercely rushes up right behind him and slashes at his back with his sharp sword. Luckily for this warrior indeed, his thick B-rank armor bravely managed to save his very life there, and he confidently thinks that Jihan won't truly be able to pierce through it now with such a poor weapon choice, but Jihan simply keeps going relentlessly, using the sword expertly to stab at the armor over and over still, slowly creating now a hole in the same exact spot with his continuous strikes and attack, until the growing gap is just large enough for him now to take out the small knife. Elsewhere entirely in a very dimly lit office space, a woman intently watches a replay of the match, with a warm cup of tea right in her hand, right as Jihan swiftly cuts down the warrior now. This woman indeed is Lee Haeon from the 3rd Division, head of the Department of Human Resources in the Divergent Guild still. She thinks it's a big relief indeed that Jihan wasn't summoned yet. Right beside her personal bodyguard now, Lim Gyeong exactly, who was in the very same match as Jihan, and still managed to rank 2nd place overall. Gyeong really isn't thrilled about all this, basically being told outright that she's weaker than someone new, but Hyun still advises her firmly to try and avoid fighting with the maniacal newbie there. For now, what she really needs Gyeong to do is to quickly collect the data. However, as Gyeong closely watches the video playing on her boss's monitor screen, she can't really help but notice that she has most definitely seen Jihan before. Somewhere now, Lim Gyeong of the Divergent Guild is known mainly now for possessing an S-rank gift indeed. She is the Divergent Guild's high potential prospect indeed, and her overall performance in the Bronze League greatly lived up fully to everyone's eager expectation. She truly should have ranked first, just as everyone hoped for her greatly, and she most definitely likely would have as well, if it hadn't been directly for Song Ji-han's sudden appearance. The Turtle Guild scout team surely can't help but yell in shock then, as he instantly realizes that not only did Ji-han beat some of their most promising members there, but he also even managed to rank first at only level 2 now, without proper gear nor affiliation to any specific group too. He showed right up in a wife-beater top and sweatpants there, and somehow managed still to acquire 6 kills without any weapons at all. His sheer performance alone in this very match was enough to cause plenty of questions to pop up fast amongst most of the players out in the world. The man himself then relaxes back comfortably in his living room quietly, as he meticulously checks his rewards now. For achieving proud first place in the Bronze League tutorial ever, he immediately gained an experience boost of 50% and so managed quite swiftly to go from level 3 straight to level 6. His quick level up speed there is most likely due to the simple fact that he's still now at rookie level, but that's still a nice bonus regardless of all else. He clearly didn't gain any GP, which really is the currency used by the system, but indeed he did get stat points directly from his vital level up, which right away he threw directly all into martial power now. Once more again his martial power thus increases, going smoothly from level 6 straight to level 9. He therefore also acquired a useful nickname, Tutorial Conqueror it is, which gives him an additional single point in all of his core attributes, as well as a decent additional 20% experience boost right now. The new nickname only applies specifically in Bronze League, but it's surely fine indeed in its very own way. With all of that new effect, he certainly now has 10 total points in martial power, which really makes him incredibly overpowered here in the Bronze League. Soon to the Silver League then. Promotion decisive battle will notably happen when he reaches solid level 25 soon. So truly until then he just simply has to focus diligently on growing all of his real power continuously. There are already quite a lot of boosts to his stats and strength level, but there's still one more critical thing he gained by reaching level 5 now. He unlocked a class advancement option then, which clearly means that he can now actually pick a class. When indeed choosing a class, it's vital important that the player truly knows what each class brings right to the table. There exist 4 definite options to pick from: warrior clearly, archer indeed, mage too, and also support. In his previous life's playthrough then, he picked the warrior class original, and since he already definitely has expert level knowledge of it too, picking it again surely will make his in-game life far easier. But now in his achievement store online, there's a great option to buy an extra class slot there. With that option, even if he chooses quite a different class this time now, he can always add back the warrior class later on indeed by buying it though. With 10,000 achievement points total. Thanks to all this, he doesn't specifically need to choose the warrior class first thing, and now he can try out indeed something else entirely. His keen finger hovers gently over all the options now, as he carefully decides which one he's going to choose there, and then eventually, quite soon, he picks one now. Later on now, he's summoned to the Bronze League indeed. Gangnam area once more, again for another grave mission. This very place is filled with thousands of zombies right now, crowding intensely around each other there, and the mission this very time is total defense now. The ravenous zombies are at the bottom of a castle strong, and the brave players are to kill all the zombies fast, and protect the crystal resting safe at the top of the castle walls strong, while also doing their utter best to survive against the zombies right there. There are multiple crucial towers standing tall, and the fierce battle will continue until only just 5 towers remain now. On top of one of these towers is Lim Gai-young indeed, a fearless warrior of the Divergent Guild so bold, and she stares down intently at the horrible zombies in disgust now. They may indeed be inside a game grant, but that surely doesn't make the sight of decayed corpses any better for her. Behind her now, the other brave players spawn in fast, and they seem to be quite familiar with the map as well as the dire mission. Gai-young truly knows the people who have been matched up with her now. One indeed is an archer hailing from the LK group, and he sports strong-looking B-grade gear right there. Another here is a mage, and he doesn't seem affiliated with any guild, but his equipment looks quite impressive you see, and he doesn't look too bad indeed for this level. These two truly look like good partners to work with. But the most important person in this particular mission here, type is the support. The defense mission is a long-term fight it seems, and the support role is the person that guarantees now that they will all be able to survive that extended fight. He's summoned last, and as the light fully clears now, Gai-young is quite surprised to see Song Ji-han appear as the support of their very group here. Just like last time out, his gear is pretty unique of course, and he's sporting a tracksuit and yes, a metal pipe too. Truly now, the strongest gear available it seemed. Exactly 20 minutes before he was summoned for the mission, he decided wisely to choose the support class role, as he selected indeed the option. The system itself even advised him that this class isn't compatible at all. The specific reason he chose the support class though, even though it is so bad indeed for him that the system had to reconfirm his crucial decision, is because the support class gives him a new ability called Divine Power now, that is unlocked directly after choosing this very support class. Divine Power truly is something he desperately needs now, if he seriously wants to grow another unique stat at all, but it's decidedly one of the harder abilities here to grow. That's mainly because it's not quite as easy to boost with training now, like those other common stats. And there's simply no other way to raise it other than to invest some extra points. Ji-han certainly doesn't want to do that right now, of course not, because he's throwing everything he has into his martial power stat that, in hopes of gaining those nameless divine arts quite early. He would genuinely never waste his own valuable points on anything else now. Then, why exactly did he choose the support class and gain the divine power stat? That's mainly because he knows of another way to significantly enhance divine power, and it's a method that people aren't aware of at all now. The real secret lies in his shiny new pipe there. The other players seem just as surprised at the fact that Ji-han is a support, just like Gai-young too. And the mage in particular right now doesn't hide his deep frustration with Ji-han's superior outfit and gear overall. He loudly yells at Ji-han for choosing not to have much better equipment, and even emphasizes just how expensive his own gear is in real comparison, thinking that Ji-han having bad gear means because he is wholly incompetent. The archer quickly tries to calm the mage right down, before he says something that's way out of line completely, but the arrogant mage really doesn't want to hear any of it now. He even calls Ji-han filthy outright, and even says that he doesn't want to play the whole game with someone so bad. that, who will clearly mess up their entire team later. Gyeong shuts her own eyes in annoyance now, and questions the horrible luck that forces her into this situation. To play with such a total troll, however, she snaps right out of it as she hears the mage cry out in real surprise. Jihan has quickly grabbed the arrogant mage by the collar of his cape tightly, and RMC is holding him aloft, in the air, like a mere toy now. Then without even a second thought spare, he tosses the mage right over the very edge of the tower there, straight down towards those hungry, waiting zombies below here. The mage surely has been complaining this whole entire time that he really doesn't want to play with Jihan here, so RMC just helped him quit the game so very personally that the mage now responds quickly after that death thing, and as soon as he soon reappears at the tower's very top, he begs Jihan for utter forgiveness and promises to truly do his best for the team soon. The man groveling now at RMC's feet here is Kim Gyu-yuk truly, and the real reason for his sudden major change in behavior right now is none other than RMC's disciplinary techniques really. When a person spawns fresh in the Bronze League defense game then, they are quickly given a total amount of 3 good lives here now. Kim Kyu-yuk, whom resurrected quickly right away, after being mercilessly tossed off the very side of the tower that, was immediately granted another skydiving lesson straight by Jihan right there. As soon as he fully respawned thanks directly to that action, he definitely has only just 1 life remaining now, and if he were to die one more distinct time, then surely he would be kicked right out of the game and get last place then. That's exactly why he's currently begging desperately for his very life at the feet of RMC, hoping so much that he's truly not thrown down to be zombie lunch again now. He desperately needs to avoid getting that last place because if he sadly does, then surely his level will fall severely as a dire penalty. That also sadly means that all the skills he bought with his own money then will disappear completely as a harsh consequence indeed. If any user's level just doesn't meet the precise skill requirements now, then sadly that skill will automatically be deleted entirely. Jihan is somewhat surprised that Yu-huk's personality has changed quite so quickly here, especially since he was indeed so intent on raining down those attacks that, in his last life specifically as soon as he spawned right then, Ji-hyuk now tries to advertise quite himself as a fire mage here, who is especially very good indeed against any mobs of undead now, and he's quite also level 15 importantly, which fully means that he's significantly very strong for any other team out there. He's such a precious resource indeed that they certainly wouldn't want to lose either, but truly all his yapping has reminded Gyeong specifically of just who he is actually. Kim Gyu-yuk truly used indeed to be affiliated fully with one of the 10 great guilds in Korea precisely, and he was highly respected by absolutely all, but he fell a total of 4 times in the silver promotion leagues, and after that, he just went around starting needless fight. In other blunt words, Gyeong considers him quite a loser. Ji-hyuk continues now to advertise his various skill, and promises them he will fully cooperate together, but under just one single condition. He truly wants Jihan to personally apologize for killing him a total of twice. The archer is fully in support, and it's quite clear that he just wants their entire team to truly make up now. But, quite on the inside, Ji-hyuk is still understandably angry about being killed twice but he's truly not even given a simple chance to finish his internal revengeful monologue, as Jihan grabs him firmly by the collar once more, and tosses him carelessly off the side of the castle walls one last time now, for the sheer unbelievable audacity of asking for even an apology, even though he was obviously the one who originally started the fight itself. And with absolutely that, their mage is simply gone now, leaving their entire team now down by just one single man. The hungry zombies continue their climb of the tower, and quite coincidental, the team closest to them also has another fire mage indeed, who quickly makes swift work on the zombies right on their side. That's precisely why they clearly needed a mage now, and the archer scolds Jihan sternly for not trying to meet the mage halfway at all. Jihan isn't fazed whatsoever, and opens up his own status window to check his latest limited quest given. This particular quest indeed has a linked quest now, and it requires him to specifically get first place in the 10 Towers mission overall, and also personally kill 1,000 zombies entirely on his own now, for a grand total of 4,000 achievement points in the end. Killing 1,000 zombies seems near impossible right now, considering just exactly how much limited time they all have left here, but he truly doesn't want to lose out on a huge 3,000 points for sure. Lim Gyeong carefully watches as Jihan tries to figure out just what to do overall, and she also doesn't even try at all to hide just how much he's judging him too. So far Jihan has only really done exactly what he wants himself, and despite his own quite impressive specs indeed, he's ultimately just a support class after all. From what Gyeong herself can clearly tell now, there's really no valid reason for her to try and bring him into the Divergent Squad Guild. The archer isn't nearly as calm at all as she is though, and he continues yelling loudly at Jihan there, who finally notices finally indeed now. He tells Jihan that if he's going to continue really acting like a jerk here, then he should just go right ahead and fight completely by himself then. Unexpectedly enough, Jihan Jihan is quite happy to suddenly hear that, since he will surely be able to take out all the zombies all alone, if they just let him indeed go ahead without their extra help now. Gyeong tells him to stay right behind her while she indeed takes the front here. She sees that the game is already completely lost now, but she at least surely feels the actual need to take real responsibility as a player indeed. But Jihan tells her reassuringly that it's alright really. He plans firmly to take absolutely everything right in the front now, while the archer and Gyeong protect each other strongly. Then a zombie finally manages somehow to reach the very top of the tower quite soon, and it's clearly a blood zombie surely now, which is distinctly different and stronger significantly than the other zombies truly. Its very head is obviously made of flowing liquid now, so they can't quite kill it with regular physical attacks really. Well, they can't really anyway indeed. Jihan simply doesn't care about any rules of this game. The fierce zombie leaps in and Jihan readies himself quickly with the spear, and with one clean, swift hit, he kills the zombie by smashing its head in hard. Gyeong notices clearly from the pieces flame zombie flesh that fall all around here that then Jihan truly must have access to some divine power. More and more zombies make their way quickly to the tower, and Jihan continues now to fend them off one by one with his trusty staff. So far now he has only killed 6 zombies out of 100 total, and he certainly has a long, arduous way to go. As yet more zombies climb steadily up the tower. Jihan valiantly continues to take them all on solo now, as he kills well over 24 zombies quite easily. He starts quickly to realize that his biggest issue will definitely be the blood zombie. Basic physical attacks simply don't work on them at all, so, naturally, when he sees them he releases just a small amount of pure divine power, which wonderfully allows him to kill them all there at once. The sharp archer's view of Jihan has completely changed now, and it's hard indeed to deny that our MC really is quite a pro now, even though he's a jerk indeed. Gyeong, on the other hand, entirely is too stunned to speak now, and can only watch Jihan fight with such awe. He's controlling divine power quite freely and fighting without really wasting. His high level of control truly is impressive enough now, but what impresses her the absolute most is Jihan's skill and precision shown in directly going for the zombies' heads quickly, within just a matter of mere minutes. Jihan has fully managed to kill over 200 zombies even now, which directly allows him to meet a hidden condition at last, called an otherworld's faith in particular, that increases his divine power straight from level 6 to level 7 indeed. This is indeed his other method used to increase his divine power still, and it truly looks like it works out here. He surely can increase his divine power through the use of sacred objects currently. In 2010, when the Earth's tutorial very first started here, sacred objects were truly traded at such high prices then, as it certainly was said that they indeed contained secrets then. But after roughly 10 years even now, nothing particularly was ever revealed indeed, and eventually their value fell continuously still. Otherworldly divine items currently also had no merit overall, and many people simply didn't even know about their true existence. However, there was indeed one person who truly knew about it all, and that was Sophia, the revered saintess of American First herself. She told him all about how she increased her divine power greatly with an otherworldly divine item of great power, and divine power in general terms can be increased by using divine items specifically from other world. Although it doesn't quite work after finishing the tutorial now, it was truly the very method that she used to become a saintess then. She would just hold on tightly to the other world's divine item, and pray sincerely for a long time indeed. Eventually, after a good while of doing just that, she would then get divine power somehow. The conditions certainly required for each divine item are slightly different each time, and it's by absolutely no means an easy method now. On top of that, the items are in such incredibly low demand even that they are exceptionally difficult to find in general. Thanks entirely to that fact though, Sophia was surely able to monopolize all of the divine items solely to herself completely. This is indeed very high quality information that absolutely no one else knows about truly, so she definitely fully used all this information to her own advantage completely. But despite just how valuable this vital information was, there was also someone else who was constantly purchasing otherworldly divine items too. Which simply means that there is one other player who knows this information well. After Jihan regressed back, he visited his own sister's room in the Sword Palace penthouse now, and there he found all the other worldly divine items that had been purchased before. All their divine power has all been drained completely, so they are all empty now. That means that the identity of the other player, who had been collecting otherworldly divine items, was his elder sister definitely. Song Jia along with Yun Se Jin, indeed, the Sword King Jia now His sister was South Korea's very best support and a hero always. How she died is a whole other dramatic story entirely though now. Out of all the other worldly divine powers that she left behind him, Jihan found a steel pole which has been reduced to just an E-rank item now. According to the item's detailed description, it should be especially perfect for breaking zombie skulls surely. After using it for so very long though, it has sadly been reduced now to an F-rank item, and there's not so much divine power left now to absorb, but it's still quite tough. So it's the perfect weapon still for hitting things with. Gion continues to marvel indeed at his amazing physique and his unbelievable overall level of control. The archer keenly notices that another tower has fallen down, and they were certainly in the top 5. But in his excitement now, he fails to notice a zombie sneaking right up on it. Gaeong swiftly draws her blade quickly now, and cuts down the zombie itself before it can attack the archer well. From her very stance and the specific way she uses her sword, Jihan instantly recognizes exactly who she really is. She's best known as the Plum Blossom Sword Lim Gaeong, and she was quite famous for being known as the interim Sword King. However, she sadly didn't have a truly great ending in his past life. She eventually died at the very hands of the former Sword King, who now goes by the name Ryuhei currently. It seems like he's managed here to meet a pretty important person now. Quite early on in this new life so far, Gion calls his attention and asks now if she can join him in the intense fight. If they really fight together, then they can aim for an even higher ranking too. Jihan then takes a look at his status window there, and he can see that they are just barely in 5th place now. There's still indeed a long way to go and really not a lot of time left either now. If it's truly the Plum Blossom Sword at work, then she will be perfectly fine even without him nearby. But one of his crucial quests is to earn first solid place in this mission here. Jihan then decides quickly to leave the zombies now, climbing up the tall tower to her and also the archer there. And then he leaps suddenly off the side of the tower itself now, before they even truly have a chance to notice exactly what he's doing quickly. As he falls rapidly to the ground below, he gathers quickly up all his immense divine power into the staff he holds, and slams it hard into the ground below, causing a truly massive explosion of pure energy that blows all the zombies completely away now. Thanks so much to Jihan's impressive massive contribution here, his dedicated team manages to place strong first in the mission now, and they emerge victoriously as the very last survivors indeed. Thanks to that, he fully accomplishes his limited quest now. But he couldn't quite finish his linked quest of killing 1,000 zombies alone at all. The game then ends, and Jihan starts the whole process of teleporting back to his home indeed, before he finally leaves. His teammates come over then to congratulate him on a job well done now. He carried them so easily and came out still as the MVP despite everything else, and the archer is even more than eager to team up with him again later. But while the archer fawns over our main MC now, Gaeong really can't help but be quite shocked at the massive amount of damage that their support actually did, despite only being a level lower than her actual. She really thinks that this has to be some kind of bug overall. She honestly can't hide just how surprised she truly is now. The archer decides to log out from the game first quickly, leaving her alone indeed with Jihan himself. She now takes the opportunity to approach him before he actually leaves, and even then calls him by his real name, which greatly surprises Jihan after all that now. They truly should have met right at this point now, but Gaeong simply doesn't care too much, with the great potential and real achievements that he has shown for during these past few missions undertaken so far. She can certainly tell that this very man is definitely now someone they absolutely need at the Divergent Guild strongly. As a full member of the Divergent Guild itself, she surely has to recruit him no matter what it takes truly. But now that she's just staring intently at him now, she ends up accidentally asking for his own phone number instead. Suddenly her calm expression changes quickly to extreme panic, as she realizes fully that she skipped many needed steps to get to this point soon. She's asking directly for his phone number indeed in this first conversation now, and she must now hurry up and properly explain herself soon, before he perhaps ends up taking it absolutely the wrong way instead. Before she can fully get her very words out properly though, just then, Jihan quietly apologizes quickly now, and tells her plainly that he doesn't rightly remember his phone number right now. Then he opens his own status window and logs right out with a quick goodbye now. Before she can truly say anything else at all, Gaeong now takes a moment to quietly wonder just how exactly someone can simply forget their very own number, before she fully realizes that she has most likely just been rejected outright, back there in the real world truly. It turns out in fact that Jihan really doesn't remember his old number clearly. He used an American number for quite a while back in his old life then, and he hasn't had much time to memorize his Korean number just yet. Since his reincarnation into this brand new life now, there's absolutely no way he can ask others what his own number even is. So for the time being, he's just going to have to leave those very thoughts for later now. The far more important thing to think about clearly right now is indeed that he got actively recruited here. It truly looks like with all his showing off quite recently, he ended up really standing out way too much there. Now just that he thinks fully about it, He should have probably definitely gotten her number instead actually, but he doesn't plan on formally joining a guild fully right now anyway, for now indeed. He just has to now focus on getting as many rewards as he possibly can from all quests. He fully managed to raise his level by exactly 2 full points then, and he even managed to earn about 1,500 GP thanks to it, but he can't buy holy items with just that small amount. The divine items he actually wants to buy are much cheaper in the past than they were back in his own time. But it's certainly still too much for him right now. For now then, he has to go back home and rummage through his sister's storage a little bit more too. He ultimately makes it back home at last, and immediately notices someone else's shoes right at the front door. He immediately realizes exactly who is at home with him now, and the pure shock clearly causes him to drop his bag instantly. Everyone indeed has moments that they truly regret for their whole life, and Jihan also certainly has similar deep regrets as well. His biggest regret though by far is the sad fact that he couldn't protect his beloved niece truly, Seiya, in his own past life before. He had so very much that he truly wanted to say if they met again soon. He remembers exactly how strong she actually was, and how she even proudly told him that she would protect him always, and now she's suddenly standing in front of him again now, alive as if nothing ever truly happened at all, above absolutely everything. He deeply wanted to tell her once again that he really missed her so. Yoon Se just recently turned 18 this very year, and she's the beloved daughter of Yoon Se-jin and his own older sister. She wasn't at their home when he regressed back then, because she was staying with a group living out in Jeju, but she happened to be the only one that ended up leaving quite early, for some rather obvious reasons. Because she was born when his sister toiled to provide fully for them. Jihan was often in charge of looking carefully after Seiya from a very young age. Now sadly her mom is utterly gone, and her own dad is defecting quickly to Japan all of a sudden now, and abruptly changing his given name now that everyone else is completely gone. The sole family they both have left truly is each other now. Right now she's the most genuinely important person in his whole life indeed, and all of this bad truly happened because of Yoon Se-jion's sudden awful decision. Earlier today, Sia contacted her estranged father to see just what caused him to change sides so all of a sudden now, and he told her plainly that he had fallen deeply in love. He announced it all to her so very casual, and even though she was freaking out on the phone call with him then, he seemed way too calm about the entire situation now. She asked him what exactly he wants her to do now with him disappearing, and even asked him if he's throwing her away for absolutely nothing then, and he calmly replied to her that he is indeed throwing her away, because that's simply the condition that his new love had given him currently. Without even another single word or even a proper goodbye said, he hung up the call and quickly ended his relationship with his daughter then. In one move alone that's incredibly trashy indeed. But Jihan has always known him to be exactly that kind of man. Certainly, he is simply an irresponsible renegade that is willing to throw away his only daughter even, and his whole country truly for the sake of just one girl alone. Because of that, innocent Seiya was left all alone and later in another life sadly ended up tragically ending her own very life. Seiya turns around then and notices that her family photo has been broken now, and Jihan immediately rushes quickly to apologize there, thinking that even with what Yoon Se-jin did just then, he's still her father indeed, but much to his surprise this time, she reveals then that she actually wanted to break it instead. Then she tells him she's totally fine and puts up a truly strong face. This indeed is always just how Sia always was. Whether her dear mom died or her own father betrayed her now and left, she would always have a bright smile and face life full, while worrying perhaps more about her uncle than even herself. But even though he fully knows that she can take care of herself well, he truly doesn't want her to be like that quite anymore now. From this moment on, even though she's all grown up now, he wants to lovingly take care of her and protect her well. Seiya gently closes her eyes now and allows him to hug her closely, but their sweet moment is broken up when she says he's sweat. Elsewhere far away in the Seoul metropolitan city, Dongnam-gu, right inside the Divergent Guild headquarters, Lee Hyun doesn't even try to hold her loud laughter back at all. After her loyal bodyguard tells her about the run-in with Jihan, the truly beautiful Lim Gyeong asked directly for a man's own number and he refused, and completely on top of that all, he used such a lame excuse now of saying that he can't even remember his number. Her loud laughter causes Gyeong finally to accept she isn't quite as beautiful as Lee Hyun seems to surely think she is. But that couldn't actually be further from the truth now. She just simply doesn't know how popular she really is still. Even the few people that they have walked past quickly can't help but stare intensely and whisper about how cool she truly is. The two of them head straight over to the company lounge area, and Lee Hyun feels especially relaxed while being there. The two of them are there presently to discuss what their vital plan plans are going to be. Regarding Jihan's immediate recruitment specifically, they absolutely have to recruit him now no matter what at all, and even the higher UPS are really pushing her to get him onto their team as fast as humanly possible, as they are openly talking now. Han clearly notices a notification flash upon her phone screen now. It's someone currently broadcasting a popular livestream right now, and she's quite confused about who this could actually be possible, since there shouldn't currently be any massive big matches happening today at all. The person streaming it usually is a gambling streamer that Han personally follows closely. Once in a little while she just calls it a strategy analysis truthful, but it's clearly just simple gambling indeed still. But the very person hosting the stream itself is definitely present, not quite who they were expecting to see. It's Son Jihan, and he's starting an impromptu stream now, seemingly with absolutely no announcements made. On the other side of things, Jihan is setting up the camera while Seiya advises him, from off-screen. Gyeong struggles to figure out just why Jihan is showing up on a gambling prediction stream like this. But Hyun is more keenly focused on the title of the stream instead. Jihan is claiming openly to be the brother-in-law of the Sword King. The people watching the stream altogether are also very confused about the sudden announcement here, and comments just fly into the stream asking what's really going on now. The statue right behind him is the twin sword statue, which certainly proves that he's inside the Sword Palace penthouse. Now that the stream has properly started up now, Jihan simply tells Seiya to step back just a bit. Then he channels power into his foot there, and stomps hard into the ground, cracking the floor sharply below him now, and causing the pillar below the twin sword statue to shatter completely. Then he uses his fist, mightily breaking the statue completely apart, shocking absolutely everyone watching the live stream, and causing thousands more viewers to flow quickly into the stream. Now that he has surely made a big splash, and caused a lot more people to grow intensely interested in the stream, it's finally time for him to actually start addressing the Sword King directly. Yoon Sejin's controversial naturalization to Japan presently. The place he's streaming on live right now is aptly called the Battle2, and it's a popular streaming system of the BattleNet now, and a platform that possesses truly unrivaled market share in this world, since it is indeed a major part of the BattleNet overall. Jihan can also get quests directly linked to BattleTube as well, which include specifically gaining a certain number of viewers now, subscribers, and views. Also thanks greatly to all this, he has undeniably another way to gain achievement points readily, by certainly making a notable splash on the platform here, and destroying the twin sword statue is definitely one very good way to make a splash online today. For Seon Jihan, there's virtually no better situation than right now to easily cash in fully on all of the rewards soon. As the viewers just continue to pile on it, he continues gaining achievement points indeed from the multiple milestone he's crossing. Meanwhile still, people are certainly still shocked now that he dared to break such an important statue there, and as expected even more dislikes are flowing straight in here. There's also a certain large number of commenters that share the very same profile picture of a black logo there with twin swords display. These very people are the Sword King family quite clearly, and just the very thought of them makes Jihan's eye twitch slightly in sudden anger here. That crazy fanatic fan club of UCI Jin indeed now is what sadly drove Seiya to her early death in his last life too. While they happen to be people who supported the Sword King the absolute most, their deep resentment after he moved on swiftly to Japan just kept growing ever so much, and eventually yes, those sad emotions began to gravitate powerfully towards Yoon Se-jin's only blood-certain relative Yoon Se-iuc. Their terrible words and raw anger never failed to reach Seiya ever no matter just how far she ever ran unfortunately, and in the end sadly she lost her own young life because of their senseless terrible acts after all. Since they sorely needed someone to blame and indeed be angry at, they targeted his innocent niece then. But this time around, he won't let that happen at all. If they need someone to point fingers directly at, then Jihan will most gladly become that target instead. RMC clears his throat loudly and tells everyone to listen quite carefully, then punches the still crumbling statue hard, to make sure that all eyes are clearly still on him now. Then he makes it clear right now by stating that Ito Ryuha, their former Sword King, will definitely not be coming back here. As he continues his important announcement that people start to recognize him clearly from his past achievements indeed, specifically the bronze tutorial stage, where he made a huge notable impact by placing first despite the odds now, but the fact that he's still bronze ranked definitely hurts his overall chances to act like a true authority figure. Jihan pointedly ignores their loud conversation, and then shows irrefutable factual proof to the waiting camera now, bringing his phone in real close to the microphone then to play a vital recording. This clear recording is from a very important call between Ryuhai and Seiya, after the Sword King decided to naturalize fully as Japanese. On the very call, Ryuhai clearly announces that the core reason he is leaving Korea now is because he found someone special that he truly loved. He admits he's leaving the country entirely for her dear sake, and he's even abandoning his only beloved daughter without a shred of remorse. This is the condition that his new love gave him to be accepted by her. Now that the intended message has been fully passed across widely, Jihan ends the recording abruptly. People are left utterly speechless, but the majority aren't yet convinced by it. It's pretty much just simple street gossip currently at this point, and not yet concrete evidence that their Sword King has really left. To further drive home the point deeply, Seiya comes on camera herself to continue the big announcement. She openly announces that her own father said he will pass down the Sword Palace to her direct, but firmly she doesn't want to accept the said inheritance at all, of someone who sadly has abandoned his country completely, and also his own family because simply of that reason. She instead firmly plans to donate the entire Sword Palace to the country, in hopes that the generous donation will become a huge boost. Support for the bright growth of young Korean players there. As she continues her important announcement that, Jihan smiles gently as his plans come together quite beautifully. A mere half an hour earlier now, he first told Seiya clearly that he wants them to give away the house now, just like everyone else did too. She was very confused that he would suggest such a thing then. Why on earth would he truly want to give away everything they have now? He can't fully tell her the real reason why, and he doesn't even truly know if he can fully convince her really. If he tried his best after all later, since they are indeed not selling the building at all, and instead casually giving it away absolutely for free now, it would seem like a truly insane decision for real then. But Jihan has to convince her firmly to do this for her own sake, no matter what. Fully in his last life, after Yoon Seo-jin destroyed Korea entirely by becoming Japan's representative, the extreme anger of Koreans grew so uncontrollably high that they ended up confiscating all of the assets of Yoon Seo-jin then, including the Sword Palace where they live now. Sia truly had nowhere else to go, and she simply couldn't withstand all the stalking and cruel threat from the Sword King family then. At the end of everything else, she tragically took her very own life. Since this precious place is going to be taken away from her anyway, it'd be far better to give it away willingly to win Korea's favor and keep Seiya safe now. To Seiya though, he's merely just a freeloader uncle who drinks all day right at home, and he certainly can't even tell her that he actually came from the far future either. But he absolutely has to find a way to fully convince her now. Surprisingly enough though, while he was still deeply thinking about how to get her fully on board with his grand idea, she surprisingly agreed to his detailed plan indeed. He honestly had to take a moment to truly double-check that, if she's really alright with all of this now, since even to him now, his sudden request would make absolutely no real sense still. The real reason she has truly decided to trust him fully is simply because he's simply not the kind of person at all that would ever suggest something quite like this, for no good reason, and more importantly, it's been quite a long time since Seiya has seen this confident side of him truly, so she decides to fully trust his keen judgment now. Thanks now to her impressive resolve indeed, he managed to make this tricky situation a real reality. That doesn't quite mean that there won't still be problems going forward here, though the Sword King family is still quite up in arms now, and they are specifically calling out Jihan as a fraud and a con man straight up. That's exactly really what he wants from them though. He wants them to keep firing all their insults right at it, and avoid messing with Seiya completely, indeed. But this still really isn't enough to finish the job now. To make quite sure that everything is indeed perfect now, he's going to need to drive one final nail into the coffin completely. He steps back into the camera's full view and calls out Yoon Seo-jin now. Specifically now, he tells them now that the reason the Sword King gave for leaving now is because of a woman, but the stark truth is that he's just a has-been real. Sia indeed can only watch on now, since this definitely wasn't in the script from way earlier ever, and she truly doesn't know what more to do now. The commenters start going completely crazy, some not believing this at all. He would even dare say such a cruel thing, while others can only laugh loudly at the sheer absurdity of his claim. Jihan relentlessly continues provoking him further now, claiming explicitly that the only true reason Yoon Seo-jin left then was solely because he knew he would never make it big in Korea. Even Gyeong and Haeyeon can't actually help but scream loudly at the things he's saying. Then Jihan finishes this all up by plainly saying that Yoon Seo-jin should definitely stay well put in Japan now, because they will certainly be meeting each other soon anyway, so Jihan can completely crush him. The stream ends abruptly right after that, and the two of them immediately head back into the main house to freshen themselves up. Saya confronts her uncle directly with the immense chaos that has now started online, due to his rather inflammatory public statement. Both Korea and Japan are in an intense uproar because precisely of what he stated, but Jihan isn't truly worried at all. He assures her firmly that nothing will happen, and that Seo should simply ignore absolutely all the publicity now. This current publicity wave is indeed bringing them more fame, so she doesn't need to get stressed unnecessarily. Because of his very recent actions and words, Seo simply can't help it but she notices that something seems quite different about her uncle now. It's almost exactly as if he became a different person seemingly overnight, but it's really not surprising that she honestly feels this certain way. After all, there's absolutely no way that he would act normally after dying, and also regressing straight to the past like this. He pointedly asks her if all she saw within him was a freeloader who just drinks all day long, and Seo anxiously tries to backtrack her own words just then, even precisely though she truly does think that it's really true, that she honestly saw him exactly that way before now. As they are presently talking together, the doorbell suddenly rings aloud, and Jihan certainly already knows precisely who it truly is, but he wasn't honestly expecting them to come right over quite this early on. Now that all things have truly come to this vital point now, it's indeed time for him to now start earning some real money elsewhere soon. In bustling Tokyo, Japan specifically, Yoon Sejin watches intently over all the news report, as he quietly sits right beside a sleeping woman there on the bed. The current news clearly recounts all of the main events that have occurred recently here, and pointedly states that the tense relationship specifically between Korea and Japan is only expected to get even worse continually now. Due to his naturalization to Japan indeed, it's only gotten much worse. Since news has now fully spread that he did all of this for a woman specifically, now with Jihan too. Yoon Sejin's brother-in-law precisely, coming out with even more provocation. In fact, things are only set to get far worse now, and now all that's truly left is to see how the Sword King will react now. It could even indeed be said that Jihan is a representation of Korea's fury itself. The woman slowly gets up from the bed as Sejin turns off the broadcast right now, afraid that he had woken her up full, but she assures him that she doesn't need to sleep anymore at all. She's more worried about him though, and the hard times that he will inevitably go through going forward definitely. But Ryuhei quickly stops her now, and tells her that she shouldn't call him Sejin anymore actually. He has taken her personal name. And that's exactly how he wants to be directly addressed going forward definitely. This woman named Shizuru indeed clings strongly onto him now and assures him that he's still Yoon Sejin, Korea's #1 player. Yes, and the stark truth hasn't changed one bit, but there's a strange power indeed to her soft word, and it surely looks like the very things she's saying to him have a much heavier ability perhaps than just being mere spoken word. Then suddenly she pulls him quite close, and the two of them deeply kiss as she reminds him that she is indeed her. Yoon Sejin back once again with our protagonist. He quickly opens the very door, and standing right outside is the man that he was expecting to. This serious man is indeed a government official, and it looks like he and Jihan at least know each other quite a bit. His given name is Park Yoon-sik anyway, and he's the department manager of the battle net in South Korea perhaps. In his last previous life after Yoon Sejin simply left, the department effectively stopped coming to, but it looks like he made such a very big splash today now, that they just simply can't ignore him much longer at all. However, even though the government strangely stopped coming back then, this man still willingly took the precious time to take him and Seo into his careful consideration and took such care of them so well. Now that the stage is all set, and all the players have now arrived, it's time indeed for Jihan to start taking all the things he will need soon. The three of them then sit down just to talk there, and Yoon-sik gets straight to urgent business now. He knows quite well that they won't be able to bring back the Sword King, and the government is truly aware of all this as well, but they can't quite let the citizens know about it just yet now. The Korea vs Japan match will be taking place quite soon then, and they really need the people to be in high spirits for that match. Jihan can readily see where this conversation is indeed going, and tells Yoon-sik to get right to the real point there, and stop simply beating all around the bush now. What they truly really want is for Jihan to return the big donation of the Sword Palace entirely, since if the government fully accepts his big donation now, it will be official recognition now that the Sword King isn't coming back again. Yoon-sik is rather shocked that Jihan hit the nail on the head so easily and even he starts to believe now that Jihan really has become quite an entirely new person for real. The Jihan of before, truly just a jobless alcoholic, addicted deeply to gambling. Setting aside his initial shock, Yoon-sik confirms just what Jihan says aloud, but still tells him that they haven't quite fully given up on the Sword King's return yet. So instead of completely giving it away now, the government would very much like to suggest a co-sign management indeed. That surely means that the ownership will change to someone else entirely, but they still jointly have decisions in most of the affair. It's quite a way of making sure that they can still be well prepared for the eventual return of the Sword King himself. The government also truly wants the two of them to continue residing there in the Sword Palace still, which in the end, surely makes this a win-win for both respective sides now. Yoon-sik slides over a formal document towards them now, which indeed goes into much more detail about this agreement as a whole, and he now urges them to read it over carefully and really think about it all. It certainly looks like they really put a considerable lot of thought and great consideration into all this. Jihan really truly was just going to hand it over soon, but if they truly are willing to do this, then it's even much better for them. However, now, in clear exchange, there's a favor that Jihan would really like to ask for. Time swiftly passes after that certain event, and yet another intense match is about to begin in the Battle.net arena. A popular streamer named the Golden Light starts up his live stream now, and many viewers immediately come flooding into the battle tube to watch him live. The streamer stands proudly on top of the Grand Colosseum statue and warmly welcomes everyone to his active stream. The players below start fully spawning into the fierce match, and Golden Light quickly jumps down to join right with them. As he continues actively entertaining his loyal viewer, someone quickly gifts the stream and tells Golden Light now to make absolutely sure to teach those bronze players quite a harsh lesson. Everyone else watches on in sheer annoyance as Golden Light dances brightly to entertain his many viewers. As a proper thanks now for the generous donation, they definitely aren't as happy to see him in their lobby right now as his viewers surely are, and that's solely because underneath that innocent smile are incredibly devious intentions indeed. He became a popular streamer mainly because of his appearance and hyperness now, but also specifically because he is quite the infamous troll. He used to be a very respected gold leader one, but he demoted himself to bronze deliberately on purpose for some content, calling it his deep-sea traveling adventure now. He truly doesn't care about the very game itself and only solely cares about having real fun, which certainly makes him the pinnacle of a true troll. Even despite the fact that he has demoted himself to the absolute lowest league ever, his powerful equipment and overall stats are indeed still at gold rank status, so he is widely known for harassing and killing poor bronze players who are naturally weaker and tinier than him here. Now that he's finally here and his eager fans are certainly watching him expectantly, it's finally time for Golden Light to search around for his true first victim now. He attentively looks through the crowd of various players closely, and his sharp eyes eventually fall on some potential and exciting content here. Without missing even a single beat, Golden Light quickly runs right over to Jihan with a microphone held in hand now, eager to immediately interview the very man who has recently become the true talk of the entire town. At this present point, Jihan commonly goes by many cool nicknames indeed, and people have been showering him there with attention still. John on the other hand is just confused now about who this golden boy truly is. He's obviously just a battle tube streamer, and he's way too loud for Jihan's liking indeed. But now that he thinks about it more, there are quite a few battle tube achievements yet that he hasn't accomplished as of yet. Since the opportune moment has come now, Jihan might as well start his own stream too for his viewers then. He completely ignores the shiny boy now, and summons his own battle tube window to actively start a stream quickly. Golden Light's viewers also notice then the on-air mark high above Jihan's head too, and realize now that our MC is streaming live. As a result of that, they start all leaving to watch his stream right away, and our bright boy can't help but shake slightly in fear now, as he realizes that he practically advertised Jihan's stream totally for free it seems. Now that things have clearly come to this point, he needs to quickly figure out a way now to get people to come straight back to his stream later. As he's now thinking this, he gets another notification from someone with a Sword King handle. Obsessed username it reads, encouraging him to eliminate Shang Jihan, so that he ends up definitively in last place. The sizable reward for completing this achievement quest is 2000 GP total. 1 GP is approximately about 1001 indeed, so this becomes essentially a 2 million won quest. The people who started this donation effort are none other than some members of the renowned Sword King family precisely. When Golden Light does not immediately accept initial, other various members of the Sword King family come together quickly and continue substantially increasing the reward itself. It's quite clear that these people certainly harbor a grudge against Jihan, but he had absolutely no idea it was seemingly to this extensive degree. They decisively continue increasing the reward steadily, and it eventually passes 30,000 GP and even ultimately reaches 40,000 GP. Unfortunately now for him, the remaining players are summoned now, which unexpectedly causes donations to abruptly stop at 42,000 GP promptly. Despite the already quite insane amount of money actively being offered now, Golden Light is still clearly upset that the GP stopped somewhat under 50,000 currently. One specific member of the larger Sword King family here happily agrees to generously donate an extra 10,000 GP itself if he successfully defeats Jihan completely. That finally gets Golden Light to fully move with determination, and his intended target is now firmly set. As soon as the match immediately starts, Golden Light now sets himself up to quickly charge at an unsuspecting Jihan. He then uses one of his skills, specifically called Charge, which accelerates a user's body forward at a very high speed now. He quickly rushes in, and in just an instant, he's now behind Jihan with his own sword raised high. The intense attack fully connects, but Jihan successfully manages to parry the blow with absolutely no problem. Unexpectedly, he's using yet another one of his weird weapons. This time around, it's a club that's part of a cooking set, and it's a D-rank extraterrestrial holy item actual. Jihan is still rather surprised that despite swinging with all he had, Golden Light's weapon somehow survived the fierce attack. Since things indeed have come to this point, Jihan also summons a sword to properly use out of pure etiquette, in merely a matter of mere seconds. Jihan is quite able to cut down Golden Light with simple, precise strike, and the commentators realize he's using some sword chi, which normally shouldn't be quite possible for someone in Bronze League there. He's also even using white sacred flames at that moment, which are divine power, yes, but if he's using divine power still, that likely means that he is a support type indeed. Regardless of just how he did it Jihan has quite successfully gotten first blood right now, and all this with just a D-rank kitchen knife now, a holy item that's also part of the cooking set as divine weapons that. However, although he has been killed rather embarrassingly, it's true, Golden Light isn't down for the count just yet at all. He somehow managed to revive himself again thanks to an item he happens to have called the Crucifix of Revival here. This powerful item can only be ever used once though. However, it simply can't be used during National League's matches, promo games, or important guild matches at hand. Despite the simple fact that he has revived his scene, there's truly no real point since the ultimate goal wasn't just to kill Jihan only, but also to make his current place last right now. And since he died first, Jihan simply can't be in last place now. Despite all of their obvious disappointment, quite clearly, Golden Light is determined still to make sure that he redeems himself. With Saiwan Jihan's utter defeat now, unluckily indeed for him, Saiwan Jihan is determined now to make sure that he wipes the smirk clean off of this golden boy's smug face. In a matter of seconds, Jihan takes him straight out again, unintentionally giving him then a double kill. As he walks slowly away from the dying streamer there, he thinks hard about the item that the man used later in the future. Nobody then used it because the revival process had certain clear flaws. That aside for now, today is more hectic than it is usual. That's most likely true because of the many spectators who came here to watch the intense game today. Today's keen spectators notably are elves, and it looks indeed like they are all truly watching Jihan closely. Our MC isn't particularly fond at all of them, since those elves played a very big role in humanity's downfall long ago. Right now though, there's certainly nothing that he can realistically do about them, so the best he can surely do is focus squarely on dealing with the people right now in front of him. From the looks obviously of the other players are giving him quite a lot of distance now, and it's almost like they are treating him like some sort of outcast entirely. When he turns sharply to look directly at them, they all quickly run away in sheer fear. It's only really normal since he just ripped a gold player apart fully twice, so they clearly know right now that they are no real match for him at all. This definitely isn't good news for our MC at all, since that really means that his hunting efficiency will drop considerably, and all after he finally just found a D-rank holy item finally too. If he wants to fully meet the manifestation conditions of these special items, he's really going to have to truly fight even more now, as he's currently trying to figure precisely out what to do then. A notification suddenly pops up in his character status window now, and Jihan smiles slightly as he reads fully through it carefully. It truly looks like things are soon about to turn right around sharp. He has actually gotten quite a quest now to subjugate all the goblins that have gathered closely around the goblin champion nearby. Thanks greatly to this quest, he should now be able to meet his fighting quota, despite all the other players running quickly away in great fear. In an instant then, he's suddenly surrounded by several goblins now, and it certainly looks like he's completely outnumbered indeed. But in just an instant now, it's the goblins that are running swiftly away from him instead, as he charges right at them with terrifying speed now. The poor monsters cry out now for help, as they are smacked and brutally stabbed with Jihan's cooking equipment. Thanks to his very constant fighting indeed, the holy cooking set eventually begins reacting to all his action. It's all thanks to just the fact that he read through the item descriptions earlier before he started actively using them. He's definitely supposed to break their heads and gouge their heart, and he is specifically supposed to do all of that in this certain order, in order to fully use the item quite properly, so that they can fully react to him. So, it's indeed a good thing that he figured all of this clear out before the end of the game, but truly with the way that things are fully going, this is seemingly taking way too long. If he had really learned this a little early, then surely there would have been a few more goblins that left right for him to truly use his mighty weapons on. But fortunately at least it's not completely over as yet. There's just one more goblin left now for him to take out, and this fierce one is much more threatening indeed than the rest. This powerful beast is the goblin champion, and in comparison to normal goblins he is way bigger and far stronger. Despite its massive size and strength though, a good smack now with the cooking club is enough to send the goblin champion crashing hard to the ground below. Then Jihan quickly takes advantage of that, and stabs it deep in the heart. Despite its large size, it's just a big goblin after all, and with that strike, the entire quest has been cleared cleanly, and he receives 500 achievement points now as a grand reward, as well as earning 1 divine power in this very process too. But precisely because he used the items heavily, the rank of the weapons now have been reduced sharply to E, so he should only be able to earn divine power just one more final time. Hunting regular monsters is way too terribly slow though, so he's certainly going to need to catch other players instead now, but they are still way too far away from him now. So now, if they just simply won't come to him now, he's truly going to have to go to them all himself. The very commentators who have been quietly watching the entire stream this whole time finally come out of hiding to keenly talk about how truly scary Jihan now looks. But out of all the many people watching the stream intently, there's one certain person who is way too upset about what's now going on his own screen. It's Golden Light, intently watching Jihan stream from the outside world, and he keenly notices one specific comment in particular, saying that Jihan is clearly 1,000 times better than him indeed. While he's naturally upset about the way they are talking about him directly, he's more deeply curious about the beast that Jihan truly is himself. From his fierce fight with that goblin now, the system there has calculated his estimated stats correctly, and his average strength level is approximately about 35 in total. The average for a Bronze League player is around 25 roughly, and Jihan himself is somehow a whole 10 points above even that average. None of all this simply makes any logical sense, and Golden Light even starts to intensely think that Jihan must be using some kind of hacks now, as he now lays on the bed lamenting his deep failure presently, and the cracked beast that is truly our main character. He hears intense screams of terror coming right from his monitor. He quickly looks up now, just in clear time to see Jihan smacking someone hard in the face with his club. In merely a matter of seconds, Jihan has taken out multiple players at once swiftly, and the all-out brawl is entirely and utterly one-sided it seems. In a matter of seconds, Jihan has killed countless players with absolute ease now, bringing the number of total players right down to minuscule numbers now. The remaining players fully realize now that this truly isn't the time for them to be fighting amongst themselves. You see, this surely is the time for them to come together and beat up this blatant hack user. A mage and then an archer are actually the first to come together and attempt to take down Jihan now, but their initial attacks are blocked or pushed far away with simple ease. After but a short while, they stop attacking completely then. Once it surely looks like nothing they do will work at all on Jihan here, they just simply don't even try to fight back anymore now, and just stare at this absolute beast in utter disbelief really, before he quickly comes over and puts them out of their total misery soon. Jihan has impressively managed to get a total of 10 kills quite fast, and his viewers now are going totally wild. After watching this awesome feat of taking all the players right down, thanks to his massive number of overall kills, the cooking set starts reacting fiercely again, and he gains another point in divine power as a direct result, and the items downgrade once again now to F rank, making them all practically useless sadly. He also clears a hidden side quest, which required him now to get 10 kills in the Colosseum game. That gives him an additional 5,000 achievement points as the reward. With divine power and achievement points right in the bag, Jihan has successfully gotten simply everything he wanted there, but somehow something is still oddly missing. He now needs something definite and truly strong to boost his power as high as it possibly can then go. He quickly notices that he's gotten an epic type quest that surely requires him to find the Shadow Queen right now, located very near the spectators in the Colosseum game map, and provoke her. An epic level quest isn't meant to appear in the Bronze League after all, but much more important indeed are the reward, which are a grand 50,000 achievement points total, as well as the mighty constellation Shadow Queen's keen interest now. A constellation indeed is an absolute being that represents a star high above, and they truly are divine beings, powerful beyond measure. In the BattleNet world, a constellation's interest is just the same as a sponsor, and they surely help to acquire special ability that a normal, common player wouldn't be able to rightly obtain so easily. It looks just like something that is only possible even in the Diamond League itself, is actually happening directly to him right this instant. If that's precisely the case, then he certainly needs to meet the Shadow Queen at all costs possible. If even just a single person is strongly on his side at least, then the other powerful constellations will also be keenly interested in him surely. However, with the large number of elves all staring down at him intently from the side, will he be truly able to successfully find the Shadow Queen among them all? Outside of the actual game though, the real world is recoiling sharply at Jihan's grand accomplishment indeed. Song. Jihan's stunning record of 10 total kills at the Colosseum was indeed a first in this country. After the great Yoon Sejin himself, news of it quickly and vastly spread across all social media communities promptly, and as a direct result, he gained around 10,000 subscribers now, and his streams gather up to about 4,000 simultaneous viewers online. Those from the Sword King family, who hoped greatly for Jihan's ruin. In turn, they soon became his staunch supporters. Now, all the bitter resentment was directed at Golden Light alone, who unintentionally became Jihan's key stepping stone to eventual stardom. His own reputation has practically gone straight into the gutter now, especially after those recent critical events, and he's desperately struggling to figure out what he should do to fix this mess, since there simply aren't many viable options left at all. Golden Light instead then decides to jump on the Song Jihan train as well, and eventually become another one of his devoted supporters. From now onward from this key point, Golden Light truly hopes to become Song Jihan's main editor, and perhaps make him BattleTube's very best star there. Back at the Sword Palace itself, Saya can't help but intensely stare at her uncle in utter disbelief, especially after the fierce fight she watched just this afternoon. She truly can't quite believe that her own uncle got so incredibly strong now. She almost even started feeling bad for the other rival player, since this whole thing was basically the same as open grieving. So many people also desperately wanted to donate to Jihan's livestream, but sadly, he had his donation link firmly blocked for now. That's mostly because he impulsively decided to stream out of the blue there, and didn't fully set it up beforehand properly, since he actually hasn't quite set it up yet still. Sada thoughtfully advises Jihan to raise the minimum donation fee high. It'll likely be hard for him to fully focus if donations keep flooding in so fast, so it'd probably be best to set it to a higher amount now, so he doesn't get too many donations then. Jihan agrees calmly and decides to quickly set it to 10,000 GP now, which is precisely 10 million won, as Seo wonders if 10 million won is actually enough. Jihan is much more focused on thinking seriously about the Shadow Queen now, and the epic quest of a kind that he received quite recently. He suddenly has to find this quite mysterious figure and provoke her greatly, but he simply can't think of a clear way to find her in such a big crowd here. Xian keenly notices the concentrated face he's making seriously, and politely asks him if he truly wants her help for this matter. Her current attitude reminds him so strongly of her dear mother, and Jihan smiles softly at her since there's simply no true wrong in it now. He promptly gets up and decides clearly to tell her what's been bothering him. He fully tells her all about the big epic quest and also the elusive Shadow Queen, and shockingly even she herself has no idea really who that could actually be. All they truly know for sure now is that she's in the audience. Saya then decides to watch replays of those matches closely, and look carefully for her indeed within the audience. With her right on the case now, things should move more smoothly along, but Jihan still feels bad that he even had to ask her for needed help. Finding the Shadow Queen would almost be like looking for a needle in such a haystack. Now that he has managed to distract her though, he should have ample time to take care of all the settlement that he has been pushing off lately. With all of the achievement points that he has fully gathered, he buys himself another precious class slot now, and now it's finally time for him to add a brand new class and gain new power. There happen to be 3 good options for him to pick between: Warrior, Archer, and finally, Mage, and right out of them all, he decides then to become a Mage indeed. As soon as he fully adds the fresh new class, he starts to really feel a brand new power flowing right from his heart. It's quite different indeed from Divine Power, and it truly gives him full access now to new ability. The primary reason he chose the Mage class soon after the supporter class is because of a quite unique stat indeed that he can only truly obtain after having both of those classes. This brand new ability is indeed called Force Before Regressing now. He actually used to listen to Baron talking drunkenly often. One day during one of his drunken ramblings now, he told Jihan quite a lot of unnecessary things then, like the simple fact that he would have recognized Jihan as being American if he had simply been naturalized a bit earlier there. But on that day he also truly talked about something rather unusual. He talked some more about his skill Force specifically, which he gained fully by combining Divine Power with mana perfectly well. It's not a super easy task and others wouldn't even be able to try it out, since Baron is simply the only player in all the world with 2 classes now. This is genuinely something that no one else truly can obtain at all, and simply the only reason the Baron has it right now is because he has 2 status windows now, which is obviously his SSS rank gift itself. Jihan originally specifically asked if it's alright really for him to have this information now, but at the end of each and every day, Baron was quite confident that he could tell absolutely anyone in the world, because he's the one person capable now of having 2 whole classes. He was certainly quite arrogant indeed, but what he's plainly saying really isn't a lie there. Force is an overwhelming raw power that completely dominated every space, but now Baron isn't the very only one with this rare ability. Jihan knows well of the requirements and now he has fulfilled them all. This special ability is what got Baron quickly to first place in the world ranking, despite his quite terrible control and utilization of this power. So if Jihan wants has to then be prepared well for what will happen in the future soon. Then he has to truly make sure to get this ability now for himself. No matter what it will take to gain this crucial power, he needs to now concentrate the divine power into his two hands, and directly guide the strong flow of his mana from his heart right to his hand, where the two mighty powers can perfectly combine in union. If he can certainly perfectly combine these powers now, and allow nothing at all to leak completely through, then he surely will achieve this fully for a moment. It surely looks like his attempt actually worked out fine, but the circling power in his hand sends him flying back against the wall. After a short explosion now, it looks like he failed this particular time, and he simply can't hold on to the power in his hands with strength alone it seems. He must indeed be missing something crucial. Maybe he needs more mana than this, or to be at a higher level even. But something critical is most definitely missing here. The core problem is that he can't keep the power stable in his hands forever now. So maybe the underlying problem is where he's gathering all this surging power in the first place then. Since he can't properly hold on to the power in his hands this way, the next most optimal option would be to simply keep the power in his body now instead. If he truly can combine the divine power, which clearly starts in the upper dantian area, with the potent mana coming from the central dantian itself, then he could hold those two stable perhaps with the power from the lower dantian. Anytime they struggle intensely to properly mix, this should lead to a more perfect form where nothing leaks out at all. If he tightly compresses it all in that stable state, then that in theory should allow him to unlock the grand new power. He decides then to try it all out, and the backlash on his body is completely immense. He simply can't hold himself back from screaming out in pain now, as raw power fills every fiber of his body completely. Suddenly, a system notification quickly pops up now, informing him quite clearly that he has begun attempting the grand unification of the three dantians here. However, almost immediately right after this occurred, a dire warning instantly pops up now, informing him that he's surpassed the true limits he can endure now, and clearly states if he continues further, then he will die surely. Downstairs below, Saya instantly hears her uncle screaming loudly as the pain overtakes his entire body, and so, she quickly gets up now to go and see what's terribly wrong indeed. Meanwhile, Jihan is still experiencing all the immense pain right now, from trying to finally fuse the three dantians completely. In order to truly do so and fuse divine power with mana to use absolute force, then, he has to use all his strength quite subconsciously, in order to completely consolidate them properly. The severe conditions for this grand unification are very strict surely, and one clearly needs to be able to perfectly use the distinct three, which certainly have very different natures undoubtedly. On top of that fact, all of the person's stats truly need to be at least 100 to allow this very process to go smoothly then. If you're quite far from these vital standards, and try indeed to attempt to unify the three dantians now, then it's quite possible to lose your life whole. Seo swiftly runs towards her uncle's own room. As the sounds of his struggling get louder now, she calls out for him as she rushes swiftly over, but he doesn't answer her eventually here. She reaches his room and surprisingly finds him in quite good condition. He claims now that he was screaming just like that, because he merely got just a headache. But it's obvious surely that something much worse must have been happening. She clearly truly doesn't believe him here, even as he tries so hard to play it off like some joke. And Jihan then stops messing around now, once he truly notices that she has actually gotten agitated here, as a direct result now of his recent action. Suddenly and shockingly, Saya starts then crying, as she tells him softly that she really was quite scared for him now. She truly thought something bad had happened to him then, which is precisely why she ran to his very room in such a hurry. Jihan now realizes that he may have surely screwed up this time, by not thinking more deeply about Saya perhaps, in that very moment, but now that he at least seems perfectly fine, she earnestly asks him again if he's really alright now. He decides to take it seriously then and tells her that he is alright too. Then he deeply apologizes for worrying her so greatly. Saya wipes the tears from her eyes then smacks him lightly in the chest, trying hard to pretend that everything is quite alright now that he genuinely seems to be okay again. With that, she steps away swiftly to go continue looking for the Shadow Queen still, and Jihan watches her leave slowly with a warm smile indeed. He definitely just can't show his weak side too often at all. Now for Sia's sake, and in completely other news indeed, the consolidation of the three dantians truly failed badly, because he's lacking severely in both experience and level now. But even though that is absolutely the case now, he still quite managed to get the great power that he desired though. By actually fusing divine power and mana together now, Jihan has now been able indeed to exchange them both for the very unique stat which is called force now. The connecting link there between the three dantians is being maintained weakly now surely, but it's still truly there however indeed. Looking through his status window reveals something quite odd now. The number itself for the force stat is weird indeed. He just gained the ability now here. but it's starting instead from level 12. Since the link there between the three Dantians is being maintained weekly still, then the stats now for martial power and force surely will have to actively share their ability values too. That means truly that if he raises his martial power stat by one single value, his force stat there will also rise as well. Now he tests it actively by raising martial power to level 14, and the force stat closely follows suit still, also directly increasing to level 14. This situation is pretty much clearly a cheat code that having only force alone is a really good stat still, but now he can quite easily upgrade it however he wants. If these are the perks he gets from such a weak link indeed, then how amazing will the benefits of consolidating the three Dantians truly be? As excited as he is for the huge boost in raw power now, he has to leave it just the way it is for now certainly. If he tries to unify them all again now, he might actually end up dying in the very process. Since he has already fully earned what he wanted today, there's no true need for him to push his luck too much further. Next, he keenly decides to try a mage skill immediately. Now that he clearly has the class acquired, he calls forth a fireball and a tiny flame pops up into existence as the system then informs him clearly that he does not have the mana required yet to maintain large spells full. It's an adorable little flame for sure it is, but he definitely can't use this one in a true battle. The next following day, Jihan is woken up by the sunlight entering his window. As soon as he fully opens his eyes now, the system promptly informs him that he has gained 10 divine power today, and he simply cannot obtain divine power from holy items that are D rank and below him. From now onward, he can only truly gain divine power from holy items that are C rank and even higher than the previous night before. He bought those two items and then slept soundly with them right beside him through the night, in hopes indeed of getting a power boost directly from them it seemed. However, it truly looks like his limitations have ultimately come to catch up with him now. From now on, then, he's surely going to have to sell what he has left now on the second-hand market instead, to make any profit whatsoever. He steps right out of his room and calls out loud for Saya to simply see if she's awake yet. He gets absolutely no answer at all and goes downstairs now to check on her as well, and then finds her just sitting there on the couch with earbuds firmly in, and a laptop resting there right on her lap too. From the quite dark bags under her tired eyes and her overall weary expression there, it's absolutely clear indeed that she pulled off a very long all-nighter there, and she tells him directly that she spent the entire long night indeed, looking carefully for the elusive Shadow Queen. Although Jihan feels a bit bad that he had to truly put her through all of this work, it indeed looks like her dedicated efforts weren't totally in vain at all then. She now shows him a clip actually from a channel called Another Species Fan Cam for short, which is essentially just a battle tube channel for all intents and purposes, that focuses intently on looking at the other species around, that appear clearly to spectate their exciting game. They use indeed their gift called Scope, which allows them to zoom right in with their streaming cameras now. Thanks to them, Saya then managed to find something interesting there, in the replay from the match that Jihan was in recently actual, up there in the spectator area now, sitting indeed in what seems to be specially made thrones right there. There are two elves there that certainly meet the criteria for queens clearly, with their high-ranking appearance certainly. One of these elves specifically is a dark elf perhaps, who certainly looks as if she holds some sort of royalty indeed. Jihan agrees then that there might actually truly be some truth in what she managed to find surely, but it's still really too early to draw conclusions definitely. For now Sia decides surely that she's going to continue looking a bit more now, to see then if she can find anything useful indeed. Among other recordings definitely, Jihan, on the other hand though, is absolutely sure that a constellation wouldn't be found so easily at all. Sia assures him firmly that she will continue looking through more videos yet, and even some clips from abroad too, starting the very next day soon. And the way she speaks sounds almost professional certainly now. She even offers readily to edit some of his videos together now, for him to post later to BattleTube of course. She truly knows how to make videos surely, from when she watched her dad's old videos just for fun truly. The sad mention of her dear dad causes Jihan now to freeze up and think about him once more again. He can't believe someone would really abandon their own daughter like this cruel, for absolutely no real reason, only just 2 days earlier now. During his detailed conversation with Unsik truly, the government official revealed then that he might even know the true name of the woman that stole the sword swiftly, king away quickly. Her very name is Ito Shizuru, and she is the possessor of the SSS rank gift open, called plainly a woman of matchless beauty certainly. It's quite possible that Yoon Sejin might have fallen now for her skill greatly, and that's additionally what the government thinks now. This truly is a new development now for even Jihan indeed, but the crazy revelations surely don't stop there at all. Unsik now warns Jihan that the woman of matchless beauty skill goes far beyond just simple mind control indeed, and can even have the awesome ability to mold a person's very thought. Something rather similar has happened several times before now, where rising stars stars of Korea might end up naturalizing to Japan. It's very much possible that there are absolutely no limitations at all on using the gift, which really means that she very well might appear at almost any time, and try then to bewitch another truly strong player maybe. Soon after that rather intense conversation, Jihan intently kept searching for some more information about Ito Shizuru quickly, but it's honestly like the internet has been utterly wiped clean of any trace of her actual. It's most certainly likely that Japan is now being careful while diligently managing her, of course. Because of that fact, Jihan really can't find anything out right now at all. But even if what Park Yunsik is sincerely saying is really true though, then Jihan definitely has to try and just be pretty careful as well also. There's unfortunately a distinct chance that they have possibly already started steadily moving too. Meanwhile, as he's presently thinking rather deeply about this current, a large plane then descends smoothly into a major Korean airport promptly, and right on the wing now. It's clearly written that the plane belongs to the Neo Self-Defense Force now. Eventually much time passes quickly, and it's now time for another major event in the small family's lives right now. Saya patiently waits at the door for her uncle indeed, who seems to be taking his sweet time still preparing himself. If they waste any more precious time here, they're going to end up being very late shortly. Eventually Jihan finishes his preparations finally and comes out to meet her there. His hair is slicked neatly back and styled sharply, and he's dressed in a fancy-looking tailored suit too. In this get-up he's definitely ready now to meet their new arriving guest. The two of them head into the elevator together, and on the way down then, Saya is visibly shaken quite noticeably. Jihan tells her to relax now and not worry about absolutely anything really, but Saya can't exactly help being a little bit nervous right then. This is her very first time making an official public appearance of hers after her dad's sad incident. Jihan kindly tells her now that there's really no need for them to care what others may think now, since they truly haven't done absolutely anything wrong at all. Eventually, they reach the lobby floor of the Grand Sword Palace, and they are met with a large gathering, a huge group of people. Almost as soon as they exit the elevator itself, they are met promptly by Park Yun-se, who tells them directly that everything Jihan asked for is fully ready, so they can certainly go in right away and start the procedure now. Jihan thanks the advisor kindly for his help now, and trusts him fully to take care of absolutely everything till the event's end. This is the very favor that Jihan had asked for way back then, when they were indeed discussing the status of the Sword King and his assets. Jihan asked them then to organize an auction of the Sword King's entire collection, where they would sell Yoon Se-jin's beloved items soon, and of course, other possessions too. The sole point of this entire auction really is to lure Japan over precisely, and Jihan also definitely made sure to choose the specific items for auction, for that specific purpose indeed too. The main coveted item is Yoon Se-jin's prized Battle Connect, and all of the critical battle data stored deep within it. It's quite likely that if Japan truly shows up, that is definitely what they will ultimately try to take instead. Depending greatly on the situation itself, the Sword King himself just might step in indeed, to try and take that Battle Connect. No matter what he truly does though, the Korean citizens truly will be forced to face the reality that the Sword King sadly is gone, and most likely simply will not be coming back again. Yunsik silently listens to Jihan's grand plan, and notices now that it's almost as if Jihan can see into the future itself. This is simply their very last chance to change public opinion now, and because of precisely that, Jihan asks that they have the reporter pay special close attention to the Neo then Self-Defense Force table as they walk towards the main lobby there. Some people barge directly into the building and try to call for Sia to stop right now. The bodyguards right at the door stop them in their tracks, and the group of people declare loudly that they are Sia's true family indeed, and they are directly related to her close. These certain people are her aunts and uncles you see, and they are here surely to try and stop her from starting the auction now, and selling off the Sword King's truly precious items now. They also don't even try to hide the fact that they think Jihan forced her into doing all of this indeed. They continue now hurling insults at Jihan there, but Saya firmly steps up and stops them then. After all, her aunts and uncles got kicked out from the Sword Palace in the very first place for using her dad's name to defraud other people. Now, she knows full well that the real reason they are here all of a sudden is because they desperately want to take her dad's money, now that he's sadly gone. She definitely knows what she's doing, since all that her dad left is hers alone, and they have absolutely no right to argue over it with her then. She knows well that there's simply no point talking to them, and with really nothing else left to say now, she simply turns and walks directly away from them then, ordering all the guards to kick them out as fast as humanly possible. As the outsiders continue trying to fight their way forcefully and still, Jihan compliments Saya warmly on just how cool she truly was just now then. She really knows exactly how to stand up for herself there, despite absolutely everything that she has truly truly been through herself. The three of them finally make it to the lobby hall soon, where the grand auction will take place indeed, and the area is already packed now with news reporters, as well as the people keenly interested in the items for sale. As soon as they walk straight through those doors, the reporters immediately start taking pictures right of him, and eagerly trying to ask him pressing questions. They also bombard Sia with endless photographs and questions galore, not even giving them any time at all to properly answer. Jihan is simply tired of the constant barrage of questions fired, and uses raw force to shatter cameras, stopping them from working now that the incessant noise has finally, thankfully stopped. Jihan reminds them they are currently at an auction event, you see, not a press conference. With everyone finally nice and settled down, he now prepares swiftly to start the main event now. 3 unique items have been prepared especially for this big event. The very first is Yun Sejin's own BattleNet Connect, which remarkably decreases the actual sense of pain by full 99%. It also comes included directly with all data saved by the connector tool. Finally, there is a key analysis of battles indeed made by Yun Sejin himself now. A detailed analysis on East Asia's high-ranking players currently. Indeed, the Sword King's data is very precious here, and the analysis data is going to be really useful now, especially so since the Korea vs Japan match will soon be taking place. From the soft murmurs in the audience now, Jihan can tell that no one would want to quite let go of any of these items. A high-end player's in-depth analysis data isn't exactly something that you can get anywhere else. As soon as he's quite done talking there, someone raises their hand high from the audience now, and Jihan recognizes them immediately, quite clearly. He introduces himself then as Takeda Kazuo, clearly a recruitment manager of Japan's Neo Self-Defense Force. Truly, he immediately offers 5 billion yen for absolutely all the lots in the auction. On top of all that now, he also wants to formally request a private meeting with Jihan and Seiya soon. His intentions are incredibly obvious indeed now, and he doesn't even try at all to hide what he really wants now. From this meeting now, Jihan doesn't want to play those games now, and tells the man quite directly now that if there is indeed something he wants to say to them all, then he can say it directly right there in front of everyone present. With all the recent events that have just happened here, this isn't really the appropriate time and place to accept private meetings. Truly, Takeda wipes away the sweat from his brow quite nervously now, because of the intense way Jihan is glaring right at him so intently. Then he warns our main character that if he keeps acting so aggressively now, then someone else might unfortunately have to step in immediately. Then the ever-silent bodyguard who was steadily standing behind Takeda there rushes forward swiftly in the blink of an eye quite suddenly, and promptly places her sharp sword directly against Jihan's very neck. Her name is Shadow, and although she's not quite comparable to the Sword King himself, she's still undoubtedly an amazing player indeed, that is absolutely sure. Their unveiled threats aren't even well disguised in the slightest. But Jihan isn't fazed at all by this blatant copycat of Yun Sejin. Clearly, everything afterwards happened in a startling flash now. One mere second, Shadow's sharp blade appeared right in front of Jihan quickly. The very next moment our main character punched her clean right in the jaw swift, causing her to stagger sharply backwards a bit. She briefly falters there just for a moment, but then her intense anger fully takes over now, and she prepares to draw her very sword, intent for a fierce fight. But Jihan calmly now places a hand on her shoulder there, and firmly reminds her that this auction is currently being streamed live through his popular BattleTube indeed, worldwide. You see, there's absolutely no way that she can swing her weapon open, while absolutely everyone is watching intently. But Takeda quickly soothes and calms the tense situation down then, with a forced laugh and a simple wave of his very hand now. Then he personally apologizes fully for his bodyguard's harshness earlier, and apologizes sincerely, really in her stead too. But despite that facade, he still doubles down on his firm offer of 5 billion yen then, and the staggering money must also clearly include the private meeting he asked for earlier. But this exact time he now wants to hear a response to his bold offer from Seiya herself. After all, the esteemed Sword King's possessions belong to Seiya right now certainly, so naturally she's the real owner now of this auction event. He calmly walks past Jihan himself and goes directly indeed to Seiya now, informing her clearly that this very private meeting is specifically and only for her certainly. She really should want to fully know where her father is now, and Takeda promises intently that he will answer any and all questions she has truthfully about him then. As Seiya struggles indeed to give an answer now, Takeda is completely sure still that she will agree that there's truly no way she can reject this offer to talk to her own father directly. However, despite his extreme cockiness now, she blatantly declines his offer immediately. The shocking response gives Takeda such a shock indeed that he loses some pixels visibly. He truly can't quite believe that she would give up 5 billion yen easily, just simply because of a private meeting face to face. That's the rough equivalent of of 50 billion won in actual Korean currency. As much as that kind of money would certainly be great though, they need to be truly careful because of the very times involved now. And if her own father is only available for communication entirely through money like this, then Saya certainly doesn't want to know practically anything about him ever. On top of precisely that, Saya is actually a minor too, so she simply has to do now what Jihan specifically says now. At the end of this very day, the entire rest of the audience actually sighs in relief silently, since they initially thought that these extremely high-value items potentially would be sold to Japan soon. They can't really let their careful guard down just yet at all though. And even significantly though she rejected that particular meeting offer precisely, the Neo Self-Defense Force can still indeed offer an absurd amount of money now. Takeda takes a small breath now and accepts fully that they have rejected his offer for a meeting indeed. But even if that's precisely the case, there's just no need for him to cancel the bid now. He still bids that full 5 billion yen for the items anyway indeed. According to him himself, the private meeting was just one single option that Takeda added personally then, so there's certainly no need for him to cancel the bid really, just simply because he was rejected so clearly. He was told specifically to offer 5 billion from the start by the Sword King himself on top of that for sure. He also hands Saya a letter from Yoon Sejong too, that he personally wrote specifically for her now. The letter itself is stamped with a seal from Ito Ryuhai now, and just the mere sight of the new name makes Saya quite sad. Then as Saya holds the letter very tight, Takeda turns quickly and asks the crowd of Korean BattleNets so bold, concerned parties if they do not have enough money indeed to compete with him right now. Jihan knows this man's tactics extremely well too. After all, the Neo Self-Defense Forces recruitment manager now is someone that was actually banned from entry into the US. Truly, in Jihan's past life even, he was suspiciously good indeed at recruiting foreign players back then, and because of that fact, he was called Japan's calamity it seemed. There's a strong chance that he's deeply related to that player still. That uses the woman of matchless beauty skill truly. Jihan will certainly need to be wary of him now, but by the strict terms of the auction nonetheless. Since no one is able to compete with the price that has been set high, then Jihan has absolutely no choice but to sign a contract with the man. In fact, the atmosphere is really tense and Japan took the items way too easily just now, almost as if they were promised to them well beforehand. This will most definitely look bad in the media quite soon. And the other people start to wonder indeed what the actual point of them coming here was. Even was at this very point truthful. Jihan simply wants anything to happen right now. He needs a definite turning point to greatly change the state of things now. Suddenly, Saya steps right up to the microphone and begins to speak now. She's actually reading the letter that Ryuhai sent to her, directly out to the entire public audience, as well as the thousands of people that Jihan is streaming all of this to. He mentions just how he heard about her wanting to give away the famed Sword Palace now, and how extremely disappointed he truly is in her. Then, he says now that the 5 billion yen is the last asset he will give to her and serves also as the final end of their relationship here. As father and true daughter, as she finishes reading the letter aloud, she suddenly starts to cry now, confirming that it really indeed is from him due to his handwriting. Jihan looks simply away as his own niece begins to cry on the stage now. He heard talk of the woman of matchless beauty, skill being a complex form of mental manipulation too, which is far above the common mental conquest skill itself. This must certainly be true now. For Yoon Sejong to turn away from his daughter so very blindly. Jihan always greatly hated the man deep, but he was at the very least always a very good and dependable dad to Sia indeed. To think that Ryuhai would ever do something like this to his own young daughter. Sia stops crying entirely and immediately tears the letter to shreds now. Then she pointedly tells Takeda to relay the message to Ryuhai immediately. She has indeed received his assets well now, and she is now glad to fully cut off their relations entirely. With that important done, she starts to acutely realize that ripping up the paper just like this now will only make some trouble for the cleaners nearby. That will take care of the place fully later on. Jihan quickly tells her not to worry now, and then uses his potent force skill to gather up all of the paper neatly, before skillfully using his innate fire skill to burn them all cleanly. Fire truly is an obvious mage skill to witness, which certainly makes everyone even more understandably confused about what powers Jihan truly has. He is known widely to have a warrior-level combat skill at his disposal, while also powerfully having the mana of a trained mage himself, and the rare divine power often associated with a support as well. Carefully looking at this powerful man now, Takeda just can't help himself but think that he truly is someone that Japan ultimately needs to have on their side completely. Takeda is clearly not the only keen one that notices Jihan's abundant talent though. Other experienced recruiters that are importantly also attending the high-profile event rush quickly to pass their cards to Jihan now, since they all know that he is not in any guilds yet still, and they eagerly want to recruit him now. Jihan is suddenly really overwhelmed by the huge number of people that call for his attention there, and as he tries desperately to fend them all off now, Saya then calls out for him from just behind. He originally wants to tell her that he will indeed catch up with her later soon, but then immediately he notices that she looks rather sick. Then she starts to stagger suddenly and falls to the floor unconscious too. Jaehyun immediately leaves that lobby area and rushes quickly towards Seoya directly. As he holds her frantically right in his arms tightly, she eventually wakes up slowly and weakly calls out to him aloud. He tells her softly that she should hold on strongly, while he gets completely ready to take her to the hospital quickly. But then she pulls him even closer gently, and whispers softly in his ear that she's actually faking right now still. She just thought he was struggling greatly in the big crowd, so she decided then to put on a bit of an act now. The guards successfully hold off all the recruiters thankfully, as Jihan tends to Saya on the stage now. Now that he knows that she is alright now, he can breathe a sigh of true relief. But that really isn't the same for the people still watching the live broadcast close. They watch as Jihan struggles right over Saya there, and blame this entire thing fully on Ito Ryuya, who caused her so very much stress with such a heartless letter that, now that he has a quick excuse to leave, Jihan immediately ends the event quite abruptly, using his niece's health quickly as an excuse now to leave. Then he readily helps her stand up tall, and she confirms firmly that she wants to go back to the penthouse and rest easy. As they are indeed walking away, Takeda still tries to reach out to him now, offering his card promptly and asking if they could be properly introduced sometime later. Jihan doesn't even glance at the card still, and uses brute force to grab it right from the man's hand and rip it to pieces there. Right above him there, that's Jihan's final response to any meeting with Takeda at all, and it most certainly isn't changing ever. The recruitment leader truly of the fourth greatest guild in the entire world just got coldly rejected by a Korean bronze player now. There's simply no way that Takeda isn't incredibly pissed off now. He would be anyway if he wasn't quite a creep there. The man just puts on a weird-looking smile and rearranges his tie deftly, as he realizes that Jihan really does have true power indeed, a power that can rip a business card right out of his very hand, and tear it to tiny shreds in merely an instant like that. He's definitely worth recruiting over to Korea as well, just for that incredible one power all alone by itself. Yet he's remarkably still a bronze player at this current time, which clearly means that he is a rapidly rising star now. That will definitely become even greater way out in the future. Takeda is even more incredibly determined to get Jihan over to his side now, no matter just what. Meanwhile happening in the corridor leading toward the elevator now, Saya and her uncle just exchange a high five for an excellent acting performance. Well done indeed. As they continue to chat onward through the lobby corridor full, Jihan unexpectedly now gets a donation from someone out there, based primarily on the message under that very donation though. It surely looks like the sponsor here is Takeda currently, who even went quite out of his way to donate to Jihan now, even though he turned off the live broadcast entirely. The way that he talks is also way too creepy it seems, and Jihan even seriously considers blocking the strange man now, despite the quite generous donation that he received indeed from him. Their private conversation is abruptly interrupted by a sudden voice, calling aloud out to both Jihan and Saya too. It's Haeyeon for sure, and her loyal bodyguard Gyeong as well. She formally introduces herself as the third department head of the respected Divergent Guild nonetheless, and although she certainly looks professionally happy to see him, Gyeong really doesn't look quite as thrilled directly behind her. She sincerely apologizes for coming to see him all of a sudden now, despite the current circumstances indeed for them. Jihan tells her firmly that she's simply not supposed to have gotten in here, unless she's directly currently involved with them also, but somehow she still managed to sneak her sneaky way through tight security. Jihan very clearly notices that her quiet voice seems oddly familiar somehow, almost quite as if he has previously met her somewhere before now. Han explains further that she has very deep ties indeed with South Korea's BattleNet department now. So it's her connections in fact that helped her find her way into this place. She truly has a lot of confidence in herself, and her attitude almost comes across as shameless though. Jihan is quite sure that he has met someone with that kind of behavior before. As she continues to talk endlessly, he finally remembers exactly where he has seen her indeed. She is an old friend truly from his past life who always wore a mask then. Saya notices the rather stunned expression on Jihan's face now, and assumes that it is because he has fallen for this new arrival girl. Jihan on the other hand though, needs to test a certain theory of his now. He quotes something specifically that he has heard from her before in his past life, just to make quite sure the world is full of possibility. It is difficult to ignore truly that this is a quote from the great writer Dostoevsky, quite known for his gambling addiction surely. He asked her directly specifically if she likes this quote now. Gyeong steps right in front of Haein protectively now, and demands to know exactly just who Jihan is really. Haein's gambling fever truly is a secret only known to a few people, so, truly an outsider is not supposed to know all about it. That is the very last bit of confirmation that Jihan fully needed. This definitely means that Hyun indeed is American First's manager for sure. Zero in his past life was truly the only other Korean in the guild than him at all, and she was someone he actually knew quite well, specifically for her deep love of drinking and heavy gambling there. Despite all that though certainly, she rose to the second-string guild master due to her unique voice ability itself. This particular voice ability clearly was originally a skill that can only grant experience buffs full, but right after the tutorial ended abruptly. The growth scope of gift rankings and key stats clearly, as well as various other aspects of the whole game spread fast. The voice ability quickly became a highly valuable ability indeed, and the person who was really the strongest among the voice users was Zero exactly. In the present though, Zero is now just Lee Haeyeon sadly. Can't help but somewhat cringe in real pain, as her gambling addiction is openly revealed to these strangers openly. The Divergent Guild somehow managed to recruit both the Plum and D, Blossom and Zero. That really is quite an impressive roster for them truly to have now. Even there in just the tutorial now, Jihan quickly covers up his knowledge of her gambling side, quite fast, by telling them that he saw her in one of his live broadcasts earlier. He tells them directly that the chat she sent was memorable now, and that's exactly why he had to ask her that. Then he apologizes sincerely for surprising them all now. Haein quietly clears her throat right now, hoping to quickly move on from this embarrassing conversation here, as quickly as humanly possible. Even as they continue talking on now, Jihan truly can't help but smile gently at her antics today, and that action only further convinces Sia that he must like her so much. Then Haein, of course, uses the now comfortable atmosphere to approach Jihan himself. More confidently, she tells him that she has such a strong feeling now that they will indeed be seeing each other quite more often, then pulls out her very own phone and offers it right to him. Her clear goal is this: she wants to invite him to Divergent Guild, and she hopes dearly that the two of them can meet again very soon. Privately, Sia truly can't stop herself from squealing at this new development. It looks like she's about to get a new aunt suddenly out of nowhere. Even Haeyeon truly believes that she made a lasting impact on Jihan now, from how she acted indeed, and she glances at Gyeong so slyly, who was famously rejected by Jihan sometime in the past. That whole act would all have been completely perfect really, if not for the simple fact that Jihan still just can't quite remember exactly what his number actually is now. He turns and asks Saya if she might give out her number instead maybe, but Saya badly misreads it and thinks Jihan is playing hard to get right now. Instead, honestly, that's just truly not the entire case here, but she falsely believes Jihan clearly has some kind of a big plan truly, and decides to simply help him out by pretending to be dizzy and sick again. After quickly noticing that she must clearly want to head back now, Jihan quite apologizes to them and asks Haeyeon for her business card instead promptly, so he can surely contact her properly later then the uncle and niece continue their long walk up to the penthouse there, with Saya falsely believing now that her uncle has suddenly truly turned into a playboy there. Gyeong and Hyun then start to make their long way out of the building now, and the poor bodyguard is visibly shaking quite badly here. After this exchange, Hyun directly tells Gyeong to stop holding it now and laugh out loud, since she's definitely about to get really quite pissed off now, as Jihan and Saya then take the elevator directly back to the penthouse soon. Saya keenly points out that she never really expected her own uncle to wear her dear dad's old clothes. Jihan truly can't help it all though, since his very own clothes just don't fit him anymore now. Besides, it's simply not like the clothes really did anything wrong at all. The man is definitely the problem there, and as long as it looks good indeed on it, then it's certainly fine then. She asks him now about what he did earlier on, telling a pretty woman simply that he forgot his phone number just now. Jihan truly has no actual idea what exactly she's talking about anymore, and seems quite genuinely confused in the moment, as Seo scolds him soundly for pretending obviously to forget his number. But then Jihan truly tells her sincerely that he really actually doesn't know his phone number, and he certainly wasn't playing especially hard to get it all. Later on in the story, it's soon time for yet another mission to immediately start for them, and this particular one is yet definitely another crucial tower defense mission too, just like before it now. The ultimate goal is precisely to guard the sacred crystal and then survive the zombie mob attack. Jihan really isn't mentally ready at all for this upcoming mission for sure, since he spent quite a long time trying to comfort Saya after she truly realized that she accidentally interrupted her uncle's chance of getting a romance relationship. She wrongly assumed indeed that Jihan likes Lee Hyun now, when he feels essentially nothing romantic towards a gambler like that. Regardless of what he truly feels towards her though, he never quite thought he would zero again quite like this. Back in his own past life they had formed a rather close friendship, because they both fundamentally came from the very same country. On their days off they also would bet on sports to help pass the time. Zero was very much obsessed with bets and would keep going onward, even if indeed she lost multiple different times in a row consecutively. It was very much during their close time spent together that he heard her use the specific quote she seemed so fond of. She also notably had a facial scar that she refused to fully erase, because she quite called it a price to pay for making a pact deal with the devil himself. They also certainly had quite a lot in common as well, despite being merely refugees indeed, and it caused them to become close friends. The biggest thing by far they have in common ultimately was guilt, self-hatred and profound regret of failing to protect the people they truly loved them. Jihan bows his head down deeply now, as painful memories come flooding right back to his head, but the sudden flood of comments into his stream snap him back to reality soon. They also quickly noticed the large sword in his very hand, which must be the first normal weapon he has brought to a mission ever since he initially started coming into the BattleNet play. This weapon indeed is the C rank 1 Urk Pontiff's horse-slaying sword too, and despite it being a C rank thing, Jihan somehow managed to get it for unexpectedly cheap there. Now that he's truly holding it though, he can clearly see the reason why it's so very cheap now. It's way too incredibly big and heavy for most people to handle, but for him now, it's pretty easy actually for him to use. He swings the very sword to get more comfortable indeed with it now, and as many viewers are obviously in great awe at his obvious combat ability, they eagerly ask him to show them his status window now, so they all can finally see what his class and stats actually are. It surely looks like he has a lot more people actively watching him now, so they are quickly starting to request even more things now. Right now, impressively, he already has 12,000 live viewers online. Jihan isn't so sure still. He's not sure he truly wants to show his status window to the public now, but he simply can't ignore them since they are loyal regulars. He decides now to be straightforward about this matter, since so many eager people are quite curious indeed, and so he turns on his mic to talk to them directly now. He firmly tells them that he will reveal his status window, so if they can manage to get his channel to reach 200,000 full subscribers, that's quite a high feat to accomplish, since he only has 10,000 right now clearly. But he promises them truly that he will do it once he reaches 200,000 exactly. But then, to make this deal more particularly interesting even, he adds just one more serious condition to it now, so that they won't perhaps complain about it too much honestly. He plainly tells them that if he fails to ultimately get first place in any game from now onward, then he certainly will reveal his status window as soon as he loses out. The deal surely has the intended overall effect there. And now, everyone presently seems a great lot more keenly interested in the new challenge than before. They all definitely think that Jihan's game will soon be over, as soon as he unfortunately gets matched with a real troll. Right on cue it seems, the remaining 3 players are summoned too. As soon as Jihan sees them now, he truly can't believe his terrible, awful luck. Of all the people in the game to get, he sadly had to get the 3 worst possible people he could be paired with here, all at once now. The first is the sparkly one, child that Jihan mercilessly and cruelly destroyed not too long ago, and second on the list is the maid, who Jihan treated almost like a stress relief toy during his very first defense mission. The only person on this team yet that hasn't been murdered by Jihan, yet at least, is the professional footballer turned player here, Diego Massid, Argentina's top player even before Jihan's regression. Right now, Diego truly isn't much to look at all, and he looks really fragile sadly, while also having a messy beard. But on the top of all of that, there's also something weird going on. Shiny is the warrior class, and Kim Doyak is certainly the maid, while Jihan himself is indeed the support. That would clearly mean that Diego is the archer. In Jihan's last life, Diego was indeed a maid, so something quite weird must have happened there. Kim Do-hyuk is not too happy about this matchup either here. Thanks to Jihan fully taking him out last time now, he clearly lost his skill and his rewards from the last mission. Then suddenly someone named Sword King Family 8 appeared. 9-8 registers a new reward mission indeed. The mission now is to destroy the crystal and stop Song Jihan from getting first place there, and the hefty reward. Just like with Golden Light, it's an absurd amount of money again. The game begins and Diego immediately goes right on the offensive. He starts beating the zombies up with his soccer ball surely, actually quite impressively indeed, managing to knock each zombie off the tower with precise shots here. Then he tells Jihan to give him even more support buff, so he can clearly get more raw power now. Jihan hasn't had enough stats to use support skills before this, so he never tried it, but now that his divine power has gotten higher now, maybe he truly can try using it there. Now he readily gives a strength buff buff up, and that clearly proves that he must be a support class, since he freely can give out buffs now, but that only makes his viewers even more deeply confused about what his real class actually is. Then before he even starts the fight now, he pointedly asks Kim Do-hyuk if he's ready to play properly this time now. Golden Light, who is still keenly trying to be Jihan's #1 fanboy always, is quite interested in whether Jihan and Kim Do-hyuk actually know each other well. Right now, though indeed, the mage truly doesn't have a real choice here, and it's very likely that if he acts difficult once again, then Jihan is just simply going to throw him away again indeed. The poor mage has absolutely no choice but to play nice too. And with that, Jihan boldly leaps off the tower to fight the zombies directly below. Diego's very first impression of Jihan is that he's absolutely crazy truly, and the mage certainly wholeheartedly agrees with that sound analysis. He simply doesn't like Jihan at all right now, and he especially doesn't like the plain fact that Jihan seems to be treating him just like some sort of underling. The mage definitely has had enough right now. If Jihan is going to go around now doing anything he wants indeed, then he also should be able to go around truly and do anything he wants. Right, Jihan falls straight downwards into the pit of undead monster, with a potent fireball already charged in his very hand and waiting to blow. With his newly unlocked vast pool of mana now, as well as his divine significant power too, that increased quite a bit after they fused together to make four. A small paltry horde of undead is just nothing for our MC here. He unleashes a rain torrent of divine fire on the zombies waiting for him now. Then as he lands down he turns quickly with his comically large great sword, and slams it straight forcefully into the ground now, releasing a massive shockwave so truly large now, that it kills basically everything within a small radius indeed. Even Diego can barely truly believe that a bronze support can actually be so powerful, while Goldie just marvels greatly in total awe right now, at the very man that once beat him to an actual pulp twice over. This entire impressive series of notable feats is being broadcast truly live now, and some of the excited audience speculate maybe that Jihan might have already indeed killed 100 zombies with just that one massive attack. Next up are the fearsome blood zombie, which are much larger in size and far tougher than the regular cannon fodder that Jihan dealt with before. They rush right at him but unexpectedly then run straight into an invisible wall that they can't seem to pass. That's simply because Jihan is truly testing out the authentic value of the space control ability force now. With it all, he is able to generate an absolute territory, which is a fancy way truly of saying that he can now limit the movements of anything that is unlucky enough to step right into that territory, and in some rare cases he can even control their movements too. Most people just don't truly know about this incredible power, but Jihan is very much familiar with it in his past life. So Baron, whose control over force was quite a mess actually, always did use Jihan as a training partner constantly. The two of them would spar repeatedly often, and because of that also, Jihan often did come face to face with Baron's incredible force then, and was able to completely understand its hidden ability. Right now, Jihan is an absolute being now, who can use mana and divine power so simultaneously, while also having access to mighty force and martial power. In terms of raw, pure hacks alone now, Jihan is head and shoulders above anyone in the Bronze League here. In less than a minute just after landing in the horde of zombies, Jihan has already swiftly taken out over 100 of them right there. Last time, he had a defense mission back then. He couldn't clear the 1000 kills quest at all, but this time, he's quite sure that he can definitely go for it all. He just has to go a little bit faster right now, and he should really be able to get it done quite easily. With each powerful slash of his weapon now, dozens of zombies fall down at once with such ease, and to everyone else keenly watching now, this very scene is nothing but truly absurd now. His viewers can deeply understand now indeed why he so confidently said that all along. He will keep getting first place in every single match going forward now. Now, the problem truly is getting him to 200,000 subscribers, so they can properly see his status window display. The rest of them, alas, can only stand by now and watch. And Jihan carries the entire team quite effortlessly. But one particular person there is suspiciously quiet indeed. Do-hyuk grins so menacingly right now, and the viewers now realize that something is definitely wrong. They ask Golden Light to turn around quickly and check on the maid, and Goldie immediately sees precisely what's going on here. Do-hyuk stands now beside the crystal they are supposed to protect. He stands with a fiery fireball right there in his hand. His ill intentions are crystal clear indeed, and it truly looks like he's about to do something undeniably crazy. But just a moment before he actually does, he wants now to take a moment to taunt Jihan, who's still actively fighting the zombies currently. Now that he keenly feels like he's finally in the clear, he truly lets out all of his pent-up anger and frustration indeed that has been building up for Jihan, hurling the worst insults at the man and then eventually insulting his very niece too, Seiya as well. Even the zombies then stop fighting and start shaking now, as they realize quite well that this is indeed a very bad idea. Jihan then remains quiet, as Do-hyuk continues to hurl even more insults and accusations about Seiya there, going as far even as implying That Jihan has done now something terrible to Seiya indeed, to make her act so obedient now. The 55,000 GP reward now that compelled Dohyeok to do something so stupid that is the direct result of the Sword King family now, who held a bitter grudge against Song Jihan indeed. If the points are converted now to real money then, it would be the equivalent of about 55 million and won in cash. And that absurd number really is enough fuel to give Kim Do-hyuk now the courage indeed to do what he's doing now right now. Jihan can also see right through the mage's actions quite well, and his keen intuition tells him that there can only be actually two clear reasons why someone quite so cowardly would start suddenly acting up now, all of a sudden here. Either someone powerful is behind him or someone is actively encouraging him to do this here. He must surely be thinking then that since Jihan is far away that he can swiftly destroy the crystal and simply run away, without truly any consequences whatsoever. Jihan truly doesn't care about almost any insults directed towards him, but mentioning Seiya is a sacred line that he will ensure no one ever crosses ever again. The very day he regressed and met Seiya again he couldn't quite help but recall that terrible nightmare that ultimately became his harsh reality. In order to desperately hide a scar that was cruelly inflicted on her due to a horrific terror incident caused by the vile Sword King family, she hid her delicate face securely in bandages tightly, and by the terrible time he finally found her there, her precious body was simply cold and utterly lifeless now. Back then, he just couldn't do anything at all for her, and could only bitterly cry with her lifeless body held tightly in his desperate arms then. Now that he's truly back with the awesome power to change the entire future, Jihan decided firmly that he would never ever let that happen again for sure, and certainly that he would valiantly protect Seiya from absolutely anyone that cruelly tries to ever hurt her badly. From the flaming key powerfully coming from deep within his strong body now, the viewers can clearly tell that Jihan is quite pissed off, and even they can surely tell that mentioning his family is definitely crossing a serious line. However, that doesn't change one single fact that he is still way too far away from the crystal to really do anything to stop. At least, that's precisely what they think right now. Today, he will make very sure that everyone fully remembers what truly happens when you mess with precious Seiya. The precise moment he earned powerful force, there was something crucial that he realized then. While carefully trying to unite the three Danshians deep within, he realized then that he can use nameless divine arts fully. His raw martial power isn't quite yet at level 30 now, so Jihan can only intimidate it for the moment. But crucially, right now, that's surely all he needs here. The very moment he gathered the three powers into a strong one, he felt a sensation so very similar to when he used the nameless divine arts early. All he truly has to do is feel the electricity starting from his feet now, then carefully channel it into the rest of his powerful body, feeling himself become a true thunderbolt completely. From there, he just has to push himself right off the ground now, and he can move with lightning fast speed indeed, using a special technique called flashing sky thundersteps now, which is truly a method to break the very sky. The Sword King family realize that Jihan is moving swiftly, and they warn the mage to hurry up now and destroy the crystal quickly before he can damage the precious crystal. The other teammates rush quickly over to try and stop him now. Dohyeok pushes Goldie right back with a fireball before he gets too close now. Then the mage charges up an even more powerful intense fireball now, but it's blocked completely by a football before it can even make contact with the crystal there. The mage then asks what Diego truly thinks he's doing at all, but the star soccer player is always serious about any single game he plays here, and right now he's stopping the mage from ruining their very game. More than just that, Dohyeok also cursed out one of their own team members too, and even went as truly far as cursing his entire family too. That's something simply that can't be so ignored here. Dohyeok turns now to start arguing right with Diego here, but it's quite too late for him to do anything else now. Jihan has arrived now, and he truly does not look happy at all, with the stark fact that the mage seems to have much to say still. With absolutely nothing else left to do in this situation but talk more, he decides then to try and insult Jihan just a little bit more now, but our main character is simply tired of hearing his voice itself, and thus uses force outright to shut his loud mouth completely. Originally first, Jihan purely wanted to just blow up the guy's head upon his return, but that action there would truly be way too easy now. Instead right now, he keenly wants to dish out real punishment first before letting him off gently. Every player has their experienced pain filtered through a special connect, and even indeed if Jihan kills the annoying mage now, the only given penalty is that he will just go down by merely one level. So instead right now Jihan will dish out damage so very brutal here, that the foolish mage will actually think twice about that, before ever daring to do something quite like this terrible action again. Do-hyuk smiles then in relief now, since he fully knows that there is truly nothing Jihan can do to inflict real pain, as long as he fully is logged in through his secure connector device. On top of all that, he has already seemingly lost all his skills now, so there's truly nothing more for Doyak here to lose perhaps. At least that's exactly what he thinks for now, until Jihan suddenly places a hand on the man's shoulder then, and he starts to acutely feel unimaginable pain. The man screams out loud in terrible pain, and Jihan calmly tells him just to calm down now, because things are really just getting started now, for the two of them it seems. The man's screams continue to wildly echo throughout the entire game map, and whatever Jihan is doing exactly is causing him unimaginable pain indeed. The other two watch Jihan's cruelty and harsh action there, but they just can't quite figure out why the mage is feeling so very much pain. Usually the battle connector should make it so that really nothing hurts at all, enough to make a person outright go close like that, but Diego quickly finally figures it completely out however, as Jihan is totally breaking down the mage's full body now. He is also giving continuous healing too with one skilled hand. That allows Jihan there to exploit a bug in the system battle, where if a support keeps actually using recovery skills on an ally that is indeed taking damage from things like poison or burns now, then an overload effect occurs immediately, and during this time still, a player can actually feel 100% of all the damage that the connector misses entirely. Whatever Jihan is doing right now, it looks seriously painful and sparkly. One can only wonder what kind of skill Jihan is using to induce so much pain exactly. What Jihan is doing now is using his force to rip muscle and fracture bones. Only a few martial artists truly among those skilled in martial arts can actually use this skill at all. It sends an unknown energy directly into a target's body now that destroys them completely from the inside. Do-hyuk truly can't understand what's happened, since his connector should be filtering out all the pain normal, but for him now, it feels like his entire body is being stabbed with needles sharp and shaken around violently. He doesn't want to continue feeling this pain anymore, and instead, he starts begging Jihan right now to kill him swiftly instead. Jihan wastes absolutely no time and obliges the mage's grim request, slicing his head clean off with just one swift hit now. But as soon as this player dies here, Jihan instantly starts looking for the revival location point. As soon as he fully revives once again, Jihan continues the brutal punishment further, and this time, the intense pain is so very great that Do-hyuk dies from pure shock. At this point right now, things truly have been going on for so very long that his loyal viewers are starting to become deeply uncomfortable watching now. When Do-hyuk fully revives again soon, he doesn't waste any time now and immediately starts begging desperately for his life. As Jihan slowly starts walking ominously towards him, things truly have gone on for far too long now surely, and Sia has to quickly step in now to stop her uncle from doing something even more drastic. If he continues being this excessive with such punishment, then he's surely going to end up actually losing all of his subscribers soon. For now, he should stop with this pure anger and truly focus on the actual game instead. Jihan isn't fully satisfied with the torture quite yet, but for Seiya's sake right now, he will indeed stop here now. It's still truly an era of peace now, and what he has done should be enough to set a key example for anyone else that ever wants to push his limits too far. Before he puts the mage out of his own misery though, Jihan truly has to know who sent him on such a foolish quest now. The mage really doesn't waste any precious time at all, and reveals clearly that the person who sponsored him to do this here is someone with the distinct username of Sword King Family 8 indeed. 9-8. The Sword King family just kept sponsoring him over and over then, and solely because of that, he got so lost in all the money and just ended up acting stupidly too. As much as that truly tracks with what he knows about the Sword King family right now, it's quite unlikely that one single person was able to bet as much as 50,000 GP. That honestly makes it more likely that it isn't just one person real, but more like an entire organization that did this for real. Now that he has the specific answers he truly needs now, he grabs the mage roughly by his very collar there, and tells him to be thankful that Seiya stopped him from going any further now. Then as Jihan tosses him way up into the sky towards his own grim death, the mage screams out his heartfelt thanks, for stopping the torture now. With that, Kim Do-hyuk has died for the very last time and been eliminated completely from the game for his splendid torture and the top class throw indeed of a troll. Golden Light and Diego both give Jihan 10 solid points each without fail. Now that all the trash has been effectively taken out for good, Jihan indeed has to go down there and take out even more zombies now. From deep within his memory, he remembers killing at least 920 zombies quite well. He should easily now be able to kill 80 more in just the blink of his sharp eye. However, just when he opens his status window to quickly check what's left, he has, in fact, already cleared the linked quest most surprising. That's clearly because of the thunder from his flashing sky thunder step. The raw electricity alone from just taking off so fast supercharged the entire ground and zapped all surrounding zombies there, causing him to kill enough zombies indeed to clear the current quest. If there's anything, this happened only because he failed to fully control it at all, and all the dispersed power ultimately exploded outwards now, which indeed caused all of this to happen so suddenly. He didn't use the true power of nameless divine arts it seemed, and only simply used the 3 dantians direct, so his execution wasn't quite perfect yet. However, the results were indeed good enough, so he can't really complain much for now. He just simply needs to train more and get a better grasp over his skills still. Goldie eagerly tries to buddy up with Jihan, asking if he's going down again soon, so that they both can perhaps fight together. But our main character ignores him completely now and goes to meet Diego there. He sincerely thanks the soccer star for helping protect the crystal previous, while he made his own quick way over to, and even kindly offers to meet with the man later on, so he definitely can be properly repaid then. On top of all that, he also really has a lot that he wishes to discuss with the man as well too. Their friendly chat is abruptly cut short though, by a sudden and jarring earthquake. It feels very much like something is trying hard to break through the very earth, and absolutely nothing like this has ever happened here before. Goldie keenly notices that it feels like something is imminently about to explode, and Diego also notices something massive emerging far off in the distance. It certainly looks like a giant hand with a mouth breaking violently through the ground now. This is truly a completely new monster that even Jihan has never seen before now, and it looks incredibly ominous indeed. The zombies seem to have such newfound vigor now that this ominous monster has shown up here, and things look like they are definitely about to get crazy, as all the zombies start charging straight towards them quickly. The monster hand roars loudly, and the sound even causes Jihan to freeze up now. However, it doesn't quite look like the zombies are being charged up by the hand at all. Instead it looks like this monster is chewing up and actually eating all the zombies. Then the mushed up undead in its mouth is turned into a living goop entirely. That falls directly to the floor and grows into a completely new monster now. That isn't even supposed to show up at all in a bronze map here. It's a flesh golem indeed. And it's a monster that usually only shows up within gold maps or higher actual. It looks very much like the evil beast is creating these new monsters himself by dismantling their physical bodies wholly, and then recombining all of it now. Jihan now wonders if this is due to the linked quest then, and he opens his status window now to check all of it. The linked quest, Zombie Origin 1, has now been changed over to Zombie Origin 2, and now his very next quest will be to deal with that fearsome flesh golem. Without the direct help of the crystal itself, Jihan really doesn't understand just what it means exactly by without the full help of the crystal. But before he can truly even figure it all out, he immediately gets a new system notification pop-up, informing him that he also has received a bonus mission now. The other players too have likewise received this very same quest, and they are all just as confused as Jihan is about the whole entire thing here. They really can't even imagine actually having to fight this massive, hulking creature, but the game system has very clearly given them a specific objective now, to finally defeat it for good. It also names that massive beast as the ominous disciple of destruction, called Black Hand. They also unlock the blessing of the crystal now too, which readily allows them to greatly lessen the gap in overall strength, enough for them all to have even a fair chance to truly fight back. Even Goldie, who truly is as strong as a Gold League player now, isn't entirely sure now that they can fully win this difficult battle. In brutal fact, he tells Jihan that even gold level people just like him struggle quite hard with these sorts of quests. It's definitely not a mission that they are ever expected to complete. Otherwise, they wouldn't offer such grand reward. The very system is offering him 10,000 achievement points now, as well as a crystal fragment too. It's quite rare for the system to offer him a reward that isn't just achievement points alone, which clearly means that this is at least an epic quest then. Goldie simply resigns himself to his fate here, and then tells Jihan that he should properly receive the crystal blessing first now, but our main character refuses outright then. He picks up his trusted sword and prepares to launch towards the flesh golem that is already firmly aiming for their precious crystal. A flesh golem truly is an undead monster with incredible vitality now. You can only defeat one by destroying its crucial core, at the very center of its formidable body too. However, even that is quite difficult though, since it surely has a huge overall body, and crystal fragments are stuck all throughout it completely. Above all, even at gold level here, the Fleece Golem truly is a boss level monster indeed, and even though Jihan has surpassed the strength of a bronze level player right now, this really isn't a situation that can be dealt with easily at all. He tells the other two to move aside quickly, then he jumps into the air using flashing sky thunder steps so fast, leaving a footprint crackling with potent lightning behind him there. As he forcefully makes his own way towards the fearsome monster. He remembers the most basic and fundamental skill in Nameless now, Divine Arts, which essentially is the three talents move. Martial devotion are these martial arts surely, which were originally created based on heaven high above. Earth and humanity have three core meanings at their heart. Those fundamental meanings make up the Nameless Divine Arts set, and with a deep understanding of those essential meanings, Jihan is able to activate a brand new ability called Three Talents swiftly. Martial Devotion Unleashed. Cleanly slicing right through the flesh golem with just a single swift strike. The sheer impact is now strong enough here that he's able to completely break through the monster's sturdy flesh arm and effortlessly destroy the core in just one devastating hit indeed. The swift attack is so very impressive that Diego drops his football in total shock, and the system then announces that Jihan has dealt effectively with the flesh golem and cleared now the bonus mission of the fourth tower completely. As soon as Jihan swung his mighty sword, Golden Light deeply felt a complicated emotion now, which truly is difficult to put adequately into words. However, all the raw emotions he deeply felt at once can easily be described as raw indeed. Admiration so strong, Goldie falls hard to his knees in exhaustion now, as Diego intently continues to watch this display in further shock. He surely has never felt anything quite like this before. At the very first, Sparkly just wanted someone new to turn into streaming content, but now, he truly wants much more than just something pathetic like that. He now fully wants to record absolutely all of Jihan, and watch him steadily grow to reach the top as a fine player and streamer. But apart so much from Golden Light's strong decision today, to put wholly his body and also his heart on the firm line for great Jihan in this very moment here, alas, marks the very true start of Song Jihan and Diego's solid relationship. Platonic entirely, of course too. Well, this isn't quite that kind of manga here. Jihan managed to quickly and easily take out the flesh golem now, but the other towers aren't having quite as grand of a time, though. With just one single hit, the flesh golem easily destroyed the third tower then, ending their valuable bonus mission entirely, and the other towers as well are facing a similar grim fate now. Meanwhile, Jihan's group is ready and preparing to log out now, because they indeed managed to clear the bonus mission now. They will be awarded triple the experience and GP rewards here. The rewards are truly plentiful indeed, but there is just one more thing that Jihan still needs to do. Now that he has such a rare chance indeed, he suggests that he and Diego see each other on the outside. Right, Diego initially declines the offer, since getting this bonus is a good enough repayment for him already. But Jihan has other intriguing plans in mind now. He wants to give Diego more crucial information about his special skill. That truly shocks the soccer player quite a bit, and Jihan gives him a further hint to make him even more interested now, telling him that he needs to become a mage specifically. However, truly, it will be boring if everything gets explained right now at once, so Jihan then offers to meet him elsewhere in person, so they can continue their chat over a nice meal together. If it were truly anyone else that told Diego this very news, they wouldn't even quite be worth responding to at all. But since it's Song Jihan, who just showed unbelievable power now, Diego couldn't help but feel quite interested in his words indeed. Clearly understanding the interesting situation now, Diego quickly sends Jihan a very private message, and the two of them plan to then meet up later for a meal soon, to discuss key things properly. Goldie overhears their discussion and then begs Jihan to invite him too as well, but Jihan isn't interested in the sparkly streamer there at all here, and more importantly than all else, this meal is supposed to be for the sake of repaying Diego truly. Goldie continues to then beg and even offers to become his editor later, but Jihan isn't interested still and simply logs out so fast, while the streamer is even still begging for an opportunity still now. Back in his own room in the Sword Palace indeed, Jihan checks his earned rewards for completing the second linked quest just now. He thus gets 10,000 achievement points and also a crystal fragment now, but things still aren't quite over just yet, and soon he will get the next linked quest, called Traces of the Disciple itself. Once he fully reaches Silver League now, it's indeed a good thing that he obtained Force there. But the crystal fragment is more disappointing indeed than he expected now, it to be here. It certainly is a one-use B rank item that gives the player a divine blessing. It can also only be used in bronze or silver zones only. A divine blessing really is something that only the peak of support users can do, like the Saintess themselves can use quite easily. It's really a high-level buff that raises all abilities by a good 50%, and it surely is considered a must in the upper levels of gameplay. However, the stark fact that it's a one-use item only, that can truly only be used in the lower levels too, is incredibly quite disappointing though. However, the other rewards more than fully make up for that though. For one, he leveled up 3 times and also obtained 6,000 GP because of his triple reward buff now, from clearing the bonus mission here. Now he's level 13 indeed, and both his martial power and force are level 17 now. There are exactly 12 levels left until the silver promotion game soon, so his levels are already unbelievably high enough now. Jihan thoughtfully wonders. if there are other players who've advanced at this rapid speed before now. Meanwhile, the otherworldly and divine item that he actually used in the tower defense mission starts to react too. Since he has completely fulfilled the item's requirements now, his divine power rises significantly by 2, and it combines strongly with force. However, even though he indeed used up the weapon's power completely, and it is actually devolving directly from C rank to E rank below, his stats aren't steadily increasing yet. It seems likely like divine power and force are not directly proportional here. Suddenly, the sword starts to glow vividly with a bright light all around. The powerful energy of the 3 Danshin that he carefully used within the sword is now leaking noticeably out, and it looks dire like it could not withstand his powerful attack at all now. It'll be way too dangerous ultimately to just let the vast power leak out like this. So, Jihan immediately has to absorb it completely all back into his own body quickly. The entire process fills his whole room rapidly with a bright and blinding light now, that even leaks outside. Meanwhile now, in a building directly right beside the Sword Palace itself, relaxing idly in an unsuspecting very room, the Neo Self-Defense Force recruiter stayed, who recently went precisely by the name Sword King Family 8, 9, even 8, can't help but feel quite depressed that his plans failed badly. He indeed was the one that registered the mission on the maid, to ultimately force Jihan to lose the crucial competition. But despite his elaborate plans to see Jihan's full status window, he still unfortunately wasn't able to get just what he wanted yet. He originally deeply wanted to use the mage's resentment toward Jihan, as well as the growing animosity of the Sword King family for his advantage now, since things actually haven't fully settled down since the Sword King left quite recently. For now, he certainly needs to stop messing the entire game up here by pretending smoothly to be just in the Sword King family himself. It would have been so great truly if things had succeeded quickly in one go indeed, but it clearly looks like he chose a pathetic player just to do his dirty work anyway. For him, things clearly would have worked out simply if the mage had simply just broken the crucial crystal immediately there, instead of recklessly taking a needless moment to fool around meaninglessly instead. At the very rate things are actually going now, he might sadly end up losing his key opportunity indeed, to bring Jihan over to Japan. As the key recruitment manager specifically of the Neo Self-Defense Force itself, Takeda Kazuo clearly realized immediately now that Jihan is quite a talented player indeed, and thus he truly needs to actively recruit him quickly, using his extended long experience now of recruiting very talented players also. However, his superiors high up in the company would probably only move swiftly, and actually make firm decisions after very clear information and solid evidence truly has been presented for. They officially asked specifically for crystal clear evidence that Takeda's intuition about the very bronze player is actually spot on always, and he's certainly going to need to do something quickly to back up his solid position. In strict order to do all of that properly, Takeda greatly needed to clearly see Jihan's status window too, which would ultimately give undeniably solid proof itself that Jihan is surely a strong player indeed, quite worthy of Japan's full interest ultimately now. But things have sadly gone on now too long, and indeed Takeda is actively running out of quite crucial time. He really needs to actively up the ante even further now and quickly bring out the significant big gun, in strict order to make quite sure also that he actually can obtain Siwon specifically Jihan's official status window eventually. Once all that indeed happens firmly, he truly will soon receive immediate permission straight from the full company itself to use the very same special method that they all used to acquire the Sword King. Back then with Jihan in the past, he somehow actually managed to absorb the overflowing power from the sword, and even remarkably raised his divine power by 1 full level. This time around though, his force level indeed actually increased quite well. From this result, he can tell that every 3 levels of divine power now means 1 whole level for force altogether. Additionally also, since his martial power is connected to force itself, it also increased quite notably by 1 solid point, bringing both powers to level 18 total. It's such a shame truly that the weapon is simply lost, but the ultimate benefits from its destruction managed to make up for it all. But the system isn't quite done yet currently, and it tells him now that since the value of force has exceeded 17 clearly, he can only absorb divine power from ranked divine items or possibly even higher still. That's a huge notable handicap indeed, since ranked divine items are incredibly quite hard to come by at all. Sia burst suddenly into the room to happily tell her dear uncle that she just definitely got a 50 billion. Her joy is cut quite short though, when she truly sees the full state of the room. And Jihan, he desperately tries to play it off now, but the blood fountain on his poor forehead begs to strongly differ. Seiya pointedly ignores his feeble attempts to placate her, and firmly drags him straight into the washroom there, so she can carefully apply medicine to his wounds now. Jihan just meekly follows along with her then, as she pointedly continues to scold him, smiling all the while. Later on, just after he gets his various wounds bandaged up full, the two of them happily head out to a local restaurant nearby, to eat well with all the money they have have just received. After truly spending a decade in the US previously, he really sincerely missed eating some nice pork belly in a warmly familiar Korean atmosphere indeed. It's notably the first time he has truly been able to eat a proper meal there. Since regressing, it's nice not to be eating out only once in a while. But Jihan just specifically wants to return to the food he's fully familiar with now. Sia firmly insists that she's eagerly paying this time, so he should definitely ask for something much better and more expensive than. Jihan just simply waves his hand and tells her that they are going to eat all their meals together now. Anyway, so they can have fancier food another time later. But Seo tells him that they won't be eating together for much longer then. She has decided now to go right back to school, and although she really may not look like it, she's still the student council president after all. So it's quite weird for her to have such a long absence ever from school. The teacher already told her that she can freely rest for another week now, but it's almost the actual day to get the blessing right from the gift room soon, so she simply can't rest for too long ever. The gift room itself is something that everyone gets to experience full. On their 18th birthday, Sia's birthday is August 22nd, and even in these hellish times now, Sia still waited eagerly for that special day. Sia, who had truly wanted to be blessed right in the academy's gift room itself, had hoped deeply that she would get a good gift that would surely make the situation far better now. That hope quite fell apart when Sia received an F-rank gift indeed. That was the very moment where the strong Sia finally fell apart then. He simply can't tell her that she's going to receive an F-rank gift though, so for now he should indeed just try to lower her expectations gently. She's going to begin school the very next day, since it's a Monday, so she definitely can get a fresh new start now. Jihan offers to willingly be her personal driver to and from school always, and even though she certainly tries to argue back a bit, Jihan has already definitely made his firm decision about it. She frowns slightly and then turns away from him slowly, but even though she sincerely tries to make it seem like she's upset, she really can't quite hide the sudden joy in her face at his kind decision. The very next day, quite early in the clear morning, the two of them head down promptly to the Sword Palace parking lot, only then to find that all the many cars are gone now. The Sword King had indeed an assortment of sports cars and supercars, but now the entire place is simply completely empty for now. It truly looks like their relatives sold them all without their knowledge at all. Seiya just then decides to simply take the bus as is, but Jihan keenly notices a lone car has been left behind there. The only old car now left is Seiya's dear mother's car still, and sadly it looks like they couldn't quite earn much from it, so they left it behind. Luckily indeed for them now, the door remains open and the keys are just inside still. Despite its old and truly beat up appearance now, the car still manages to start right up quickly. Seiya panics a little bit at the fact that they are going now in that car, and Jihan thinks that she's embarrassed a bit to be seen in such an old car, but she tells him that she's actually quite worried truly. He asks her just what she's worried about exactly, but soon gets her real answer though. When they arrive at the school and are told now to move by a tall, angry-looking bald man, they are clearly in Gangnam-gu Battle.net Academy, which is exactly where SEO studies at present, and right there in the parking lot too. It looks indeed like this man is trying to pick a real fight with them both, simply just because Jihan is driving such a cheap old car. He tries now to tell them to move and even audaciously calls Jihan a beggar as well, causing our MC to calmly exit the car at once, and boldly tell the man right now to watch his sharp tongue indeed. The other people around them quickly recognize Jihan as well, the infamous bronze killer quite truly, and they immediately take out their phones to quickly record the interaction, so they can stream it directly on the internet now. Elsewhere now in the Divergent Guild headquarters itself, Hyun immediately gets right up and tells Gyeon to follow her close, as soon as she views the video and knows exactly where Jihan is at. This time around, she's certainly going to make sure that Jihan won't look down on her anymore here. Back again with Jihan, the man continues sharply to provoke Jihan directly, and then eventually draws his very fist way back to attack him. Jihan just doesn't make any attempts whatsoever to block it, and instead then uses sheer force to stop that fist before it can connect with his own face. Then before the man can even speak now, Jihan firmly shuts his mouth immediately, and slams him hard to the ground in a kneeling position at once. As Jihan calmly scolds the foolish man now for his utter bullheadedness, Seiya swiftly comes around the actual side of the car now, and urgently warns her uncle that people are currently watching them both. Then from the car that the man drove earlier on, a young girl now around Seiya's age arrives, sticks her head swiftly out of the window and calls out clearly to Seiya. Her given name is Kim Heezu indeed, and she's currently the vice president at Battle.net Academy actually. It truly looks like this person is Seiya's close friend indeed, and she hops gracefully out of the car to greet Seiya warmly. As she quickly steps right out of the car now, she directly asks her driver precisely why he's on the ground there, and he blatantly lies that it's because the ground is slippery here. Hiss pointedly ignores her driver's rushed attempt to apologize and asks Seiya directly where all of those supercars from right before simply went. She sadly admits that her dear dad sold each and every car, and Heezu gets even more worried indeed, and firmly tells Saya that she should have contacted her swiftly in that exact situation. Then she earnestly promises to give Saya a ride to school from now onward. The swift action and earnest offer are both remarkably so sudden now, and Saya truly can't hide her shock at that very sudden offer given. But Hizu firmly continues to strongly insist still, and generously even offers to bravely tell her own father about it. Jihan carefully watches their interaction closely, but something just doesn't feel quite right here. He just doesn't remember anyone being so close to Saya ever in his past life. Soon later on, Hyeon and Gaeong actually make it to the Battle.net Academy. Not even quite up to 10 minutes after the video showing Jihan went viral. But sadly, he's nowhere to be actually found there. A worker confirms plainly that Jihan got in his car and left earlier than, and that news now causes Hyeon to worry even more deeply. She's quite worried that foreign scouts just might come for him as well. And naturally, she wants to snatch him up right before they do come. Gaeong gently stops Hyeon from biting her nails and tells her now to calm down. And so, the other woman is forced indeed to accept this tough situation and think up a brand new plan. She failed to find him just this time, but from right now on, she will chase him live until she fully finds him. As she abruptly walks away from there, she watches the ongoing live match that Jihan is currently in right now. As for the match itself, the results are already seemingly pretty obvious. Jihan really has an overwhelming massive lead against all the rest of the players, and he's beating them all down almost far too easily. With his nameless divine arts as well, coupled with his martial arts skill, he's able now to very easily just take down all his many opponents. He's simply practicing how to perfectly focus all his senses, and adjust very quickly to situations indeed, and it truly looks like it's working out in his favor now. He cracks his knuckles hard and shifts his sharp attention to his next target, and they are people now who have already been badly beaten up by Jihan before. Song Jihan is already widely known as the man who actually defeated a flesh golem with just a single deadly strike. For any Bronze League players now matching up with him directly, it's essentially the exact same as a frightening natural disaster that truly is impossible to prepare fully for indeed. The fierce game ends and once again Jihan has come in glorious first place. He has also certainly come in first place 5 times in a row now, and the game system rewards him nicely with a 200% increase in his experience and GP gain now. He also impressively reaches level 15 here, which now unlocks the formidable dungeon map as his next dangerous area. The dungeon is a game kind type that opens right up from level 15 itself, and unlike the main rest of the game mode where you just need to straight fight, dungeons do have different deadly traps set in play, confusing mazes and puzzles that obviously need to be cleared just to proceed further. However, quite unlike the other specific game modes around, this one surely is co-op. And there truly is a limit to how far one person can venture alone, even on Battle.net, clearly. They strongly recommend that cooperating with party members is a necessary part indeed of playing effectively in dungeon mode itself. However, sadly there are just too many guys after him now, and if he ends up being partied precisely with people who want to screw him over, then unfortunately there's nothing more he can realistically do about it. He briefly considers then joining a guild perhaps, but he changes his mind not long after. Certainly, he really doesn't want to remain there for too long, and the guild will be undoubtedly annoying when he eventually asks to leave them. Besides that, he will reach silver soon enough, and once he reaches silver now, then he plans to create his own exclusive guild later that very day. It's certainly time for dinner now. And Jihan calls promptly for Saya to go and set the dining table there. The food is now all set perfectly, and the two of them sit right down to eat. Saya is quite surprised that Jihan can actually cook so very well, but Jihan honestly there just simply threw together the readily available ingredients they had to make a very basic meal indeed. She freaks out quite over how incredibly good the food truly is, and Jihan tells her gently that he will cook properly for her next time around. He used to cook himself a full meal every single day when he lived in America, so he's already quite well accustomed now to being in the kitchen too. As they eat there, Jihan asks Saya casually if she's going to be getting a ride from her friend there often at all from now on then. Saya tells him calmly that she honestly doesn't want to ride in her car again, because during the entire very long trip, Hizu overreacted quite much and made her extremely uncomfortable truly. She kept on showing such uncomfortable levels of real concern now, and also asking some personal probing questions too, and eventually it soon became way too much for Saya to easily handle at all. Jihan immediately fully understands this, and realizes that being with that intense girl must truly suck a lot. There's yet another reason also though. And it's simply because her sweet mom's car is much more comfortable for her, and fully filled with such warmth indeed. Jihan also agrees entirely with that fact. The very next day then, Jihan takes her straight to school, and this time around now, there are a lot more scouts and reporters waiting intently for them there. After their flashy outburst just the previous day, it's no real wonder that so many people are interested in seeing him now. At this exact point, they are practically acting like his stalkers indeed. Thankfully, The school security is doing a good job still of keeping them back now, and well out of the school's own premises now. As they drive slowly into the parking lot here, they see now two familiar faces waiting for them there. It's Hyun and Gaeong surely. And the two of them were clearly waiting for him beforehand now. She's even more incredibly upset now, because she gave him her car, but he never even contacted her at all. The plain truth is that he just completely forgot all about her. Though this time, however, she has surely made sure that he has no real way to escape now. She takes him up to the school's garden rooftop space, where they can surely have a nice private little meeting. At least, it would be truly private if not for the other scouts camping outside currently, hoping greatly that they might get a chance to talk to Jihan soon. Jihan keenly notices that Haeun seems more comfortable than usual definitely, and that's because she indeed graduated from this very school years ago. But she's honestly more upset right now about his behavior. He apologizes quickly for forgetting all about her before, but she simply tells him that it's just fine now, since it's actually a refreshing change of pace for her. Jihan is simply the first person that has truly made her run around and give chase, so she prepared a treatment indeed befitting just that action. She offers him a platinum-grade contract right on the spot presently, which simply gives incredible benefits to absolutely whoever signs it fully. It's truly such a big deal here that the other recruiters now prepare to start heading on home. Even Jihan is shocked by just how much she seemed to prepare just for him now. Then, suddenly, she decides to directly tell him that the contract was only possible really because it's her indeed then. She leans in quite close to him and directly tells him that these are her true feelings for him now. Her bold approach is so direct and effective indeed, that it makes the rest of the recruiters then, who were still hanging on to just a shred of faint hope now, turn completely around and walk straight away then. Even Jihan has to admit that he's impressed by how far ahead she went. She seems to think this plan up so effectively, as she stares him down now and tries to figure out just what he's thinking of. Her being so incredibly close to him allows him to catch a scent of her perfume. He can immediately tell that it's the same very perfume that Zero used then, back when they both were very close friends for sure. Now he's completely certain that Lee Haeun is in fact the very Zero that he knew well. But now the immediate next question indeed is, if another quirk of hers truly is the same as he remembers well, hey on there. Tired now of standing up and staring intently at it, finally plops right back onto her seat with quite a hug. At this moment, she's very frustrated by the fact indeed that she can't seem to get much reaction out of it. And on top of everything, she hasn't even gotten his number yet. And it looks like so far she's the only one that has been giving him things. Now she's determined surely to get his phone number no matter what the cost. She tells him directly that after he checks the contract carefully, she will have to put her official seal right on it. So she's going to actually need his contact information. Her approach to this is just too direct and obvious though, and Jihan immediately realizes then that she just simply wants his phone number. He doesn't turn her down abruptly this time though, and instead quite suggests that they make a little bet. He tells her now about the fact that he just freshly hit level 15, and as they know, the first game right after hitting that milestone will always be a dungeon. Haeun really can barely believe that Jihan actually has reached level 15. It's been less than a month since he actively started out participating in the battle net fully now, and he has already grown so much indeed. But more importantly, even in a situation just like this, he's trying to make a bet with her still. It makes no sense. She doesn't turn it down at all, and instead, asks what his betting conditions truly are. It's straightforward really and truly. He wants to enter the battle net right now quickly, and if he misses first place overall, then he will form a contract with the Divergent Guild holder. And of course, he'll give her his number as well too. That sounds risky, definitely, since it's well known that a lot of people are targeting him intently. If he hops into his first dungeon game all by himself solo, without a party or guild at any rate, then he will end up having to play with random people indeed. The offer is almost too good to be true for Haeun even, and it's pretty scary now that he can just pull something like this out of nowhere even. She doesn't refuse then, and asks him precisely what he wants from her if she loses the bet. His request seems simple. It's the last piece of the puzzle he needs now to definitively confirm Hyun's true identity indeed. He tells her outright that he simply wants to see her status screen. Once he fully sees it now, he can finally accurately check if she has the same gift of nurturing as Zero. At this very time, the nurturing gift was just an experience buff then, which makes it quite an embarrassing gift indeed to show others openly. And seeing her initial reaction pretty much confirms his growing suspicion. But he vitally needs to check things with his own two eyes now, and make completely sure that his current intuition is indeed correct. Just as he fully expected, she agrees to the serious bet reluctantly, and warns him clearly not to end up regretting it later on sometime, since he fully plans to enter the intense battle net immediately right now. She pointedly asks if he wants to relocate, but he simply doesn't doesn't need that. He straightaway enters the battle net immediately now, and starts a proper BattleTube live broadcast right away as well, so they all can keenly watch him just as fully expected indeed. He spawns directly in a dungeon aptly called the Conqueror's Tomb now. The ominous Conqueror's Tomb is a markedly high-level difficulty dungeon, where the legendary Conqueror sleeps soundly. Various monsters do appear in this dungeon now, but it lacks complex puzzle features, such as traps or tricky mazes. However, though, there is quite a reason that the difficulty of this dungeon is so very high. The only true way to clear it is to ensure that all members of the party survive completely till the end there, which truly means that getting lucky with teammates is very important here. Jihan bravely enters the dungeon deep, and his temporary teammates also get summoned right beside him too. From what he can easily see, these teammates don't look bad at all indeed, and they immediately fully recognize him now, from all the looks of it too. They are all surely in the same guild, and their equipment is pretty good too. They greet him there with a lot of respect now, and they look genuinely happy now to be working with him well. One of the commenters now recognizes the players fully as members now of the Black Eagle Guild. Well, they are usually known here to be considerate people surely, so it's likely indeed that they will get first place surely. The team also has quite a laid-back air indeed. Now that they truly have someone as powerful as Jihan on their team now, they initially tell him that they will certainly take the lead now, and he can readily follow closely behind them there. But Jihan firmly refuses and decides to take the lead himself instead. They try to argue for just a bit, but it's obvious enough that Jihan is quite dependable indeed, so they eagerly follow right behind him then. Jihan is just quite glad they aren't trolls this time truly, and he was worried indeed because of the clear conditions of this dungeon. Now he just simply has to focus intently on making sure intently that they all get to the very end of the dungeon run. They step right into the first level, and the monsters already start to spawn forth. The ground seemingly seems to grow quickly, as the sand upon the floor slowly morphs directly into monsters right now, known quite well as the Tombs Guards. The rest of his team fully enters battle mode now, and asks how they should get directly into formation properly, but Jihan merely needs them to stay right behind him instead. He calmly walks onward into the room filled with sand guards present, and as soon as he enters inside, they try to take a swing right at him, but he's able to easily dodge those attacks with absolutely no problem at all. Then he swiftly returns the attack with one simple punch now, taking down one of the guards instantly with just one single hit. He continues the fierce onslaught ahead, punching straight through the guards without seemingly any problem, and taking them all out so very easily, before they are even truly able to attack him back. In a mere matter of seconds, the entire room is clear now, and he reminds his quite stunned teammate that they really need to keep up now with him. In the Conqueror's Tomb, there are a total now of 10 pathways here, and each specific team is assigned directly to one pathway. All of the pathways lead directly to the underground level 7, which is where the final stage ultimately lies. Jihan's team was assigned then to the 8th path, and they are currently indeed in an overwhelming lead overall. They're already quickly down now to level 3, and all his teammates have literally had to do this entire time is just quietly simply follow behind Jihan closely. They certainly have heard of how incredibly strong Jihan is, but seeing him in real life is truly humbling indeed. He's simply crushing the sturdy heads of the soldiers now, like they are made entirely of sand itself, and easily clearing the path away for them all now. This entire time here, he hasn't even used a weapon yet now, and yet he's showing strength far above even a normal bronze league. As he continues pushing forward through the levels here, he soon receives a donation from a familiar, annoying username indeed. It's Takeda, and he begs Jihan to check his mail for a big fat donation gift. The rather strange way the man talks now makes even the commentators quite uncomfortable right now, and his intentions are really quite clear overall. He desperately wants to recruit Jihan to Japan no matter the actual cost. The commentators beg Jihan now not to leave Korea soon, since they simply can't lose him too at all, after just recently losing the Sword King himself. Luckily for them, he has no intentions indeed of leaving Korea, and he even bans Takeda from his very stream for making such lousy attempts to recruit the streamer. Now, they are even fully done with level 3 here, when the rest of the teams are probably still struggling quite hard to clear level 1 itself. One of the players checks the great strength of a guard with his sword, and it has a durability that's as hard as strong metal. Yet Jihan is easily destroying all of them with just his own fist. As the warrior checks the statue's true durability though, he receives a strange message, which causes him to pause now. For a moment, the others continue their trek down the towers there, and the mage in the group apologizes for making Jihan do everything here for them, but he doesn't mind at all, and at this specific point, he's just happy that they aren't trolling it like the rest of the other people he has played with before. They make it swiftly down to level 4, and this one looks like a straight path ahead. As Jihan checks the immediate area now, another one of the players receives a message soon as well, and they pause abruptly to stare at it in total disbelief now. Jihan can tell clearly from the holes in the walls and ground that they are all just traps carefully set for all of them. Usually, the Conqueror's tomb has almost absolutely no traps at all, but it looks like that is indeed because they are all concentrated here now. Jihan simply doesn't mind the traps, really, and asks them directly if it's alright now for them to speed up a bit now. Once again, he starts immediately to take the lead again, and tells them quickly to watch his back there, as he bravely makes his way smoothly through the dungeon. As he confidently walks on ahead now, the archer and the warrior both pull out their weapons discreetly then. They intently wait for him to start moving forward, and quietly plan to kill themselves at the nearest opportunity then. The clear message they received really was yet another sly attempt from the Sword King family now to disrupt Jihan's crucial game overall by plainly telling his teammates to kill themselves without being noticed, which automatically sabotages Jihan's crucial game then. The guild members from the Black Eagle Guild all received the very same quest now from that very same known Takeda man, who was just currently banned from keenly watching Jihan's stream actually. Originally the recruiter indeed wanted to avoid using this cheap method, but at this dire point all he can use now is just money to try and clearly get his way somehow. Now that the grand stage has been fully set here, the question is what Jihan will do now to prevent his inevitable loss indeed, when there are several key people that have been bought out already. To make completely sure he loses on top of absolutely that, these people just won't make it obvious, no, which simply means that the very moment he takes off now, he will unfortunately fail immediately indeed. There are absolutely no exceptions and Takeda is for sure to win this, that clearly is. Unless a certain golden lad decides to step on in and tip Jihan off quick. In advance now Jihan and the mage rush through the trap-filled room quickly, and very immediately the dangerous traps activate now, sending several deadly arrows flying directly towards them both. The skilled mage tries to quickly prepare a potent spell to get rid of the arrows now, but Jihan certainly already has a cunning plan to finally stop them cold. He actively activates his absolute territory and the arrows freeze right in midair completely. The excited mage excitedly turns to then ask his teammates there if they can actually also see precisely what's going on at all, and that is definitely when he ultimately notices that the two of them turning their own weapons directly on themselves. Sadly, the mage quickly calls for them now to stop what they are doing immediately, and that's enough of a warning there for Jihan to quickly turn and clearly notice what they are trying to really do. He activates his flashing sky power swift. Thunder instantly steps in. The split second now that the guys are confused more from having been caught, and thanks greatly to it. He's fast really enough to stop them from doing anything too drastic, and swiftly knocks their weapons right out of their hands now. Then he uses his immense force to bind them to the very ground, stopping absolutely their movements entirely there. The mage swiftly runs back in now from the trap room to check directly if Jihan and his guildmates there are alright. In their sudden panic, they both clearly reveal the fact now that they got a suicide mission from someone that, if only one of them unfortunately kills themselves, then this game ends truly immediately for them both. The mage directly takes a moment now to apologize to Jihan then for the terrible actions of his own guild members now, but our MC is just greatly relieved that he made it right in time to stop them both from doing something quite stupid, but he knows well that things aren't truly over just yet. He uses now his force ability to move the mage's hand there, right as a strong beam of light shoots directly out of it, narrowly stopping the mage from killing himself off as well. The entire Black Eagle Guild all received the same suicide quest here, and the mage yells loudly in utter anger, and asks Jihan just how he knew that they all received that quest. After all, truly there's nothing much that they did to make him suspect them. The person indeed who alerted Jihan of these corrupted teammates was none other than Golden Light himself certainly, who even paid Jihan's absurdly high donation fee as well, just specifically to make quite sure that Jihan knows that his own teammates have really been bribed now. Thanks entirely to the fact that he's such a die-hard fan, Goldie had clearly been watching the broadcast live, in real time always, and he noticed just how the other members all seemed to receive a strange message truly, one after another. That's specifically when he noticed the mission given out by Sword King Family 989 with an incredibly high reward, a sum of 1 billion won. So he absolutely had to make sure to tell Jihan that, even though the donation message starts from a huge 10 million and won. But Jihan is more focused now on how strange this entire event seems to be, regardless indeed of the grudge that the Sword King family has against it. Spending 1 billion won on a simple mission is just utterly insane though. Even if their very life is truly on the line here, it's definitely just not worth that much, honestly now. The quick conclusion is that whoever sent this tough mission is at least named guild rank perhaps now. or someone with the Sword King's special, strong influence even, to think that they might give 1 billion yen total just to specifically check one status screen itself is utterly insane. So now the burning question is, who could have done such a thing now? The commentators immediately realized that it must be Takeda now. That's indeed the only person who can do something so very dirty there, while also dropping a very huge amount of total money into it still. Because of that key fact, Jihan changes his own promise. Instead of revealing his status screen precisely at 200,000 subscribers indeed, he will now fully reveal his status screen at 1 million subscribers now. However, even with that change right there, his promise of placing first in every single mission still stays exactly the same, as he clearly says that he picks up the warrior sword quickly and gets a special rope as well from it. Inventory. It's truly a good thing that all of this happened, because Jahan was quite worried that he would suddenly hit 200,000 subscribers far too soon. Thanks to literally all this, he managed to gain a bit of money indeed, as well as some great attention. Now with the F-grade rope of full restraint, it's absolutely time for him to indeed take care of these betrayers that he has rather unluckily been paired up closely with. He tied them up now in a close bunch quite like livestock, and drags them carefully through the dark dungeon right behind it, so he does not have to actively worry about them now. Eventually, without literally any more distractions at all, they are surely able to successfully make it to the 6th level quickly, just right before reaching the Emperor's very room. And it certainly looks like this place right here is filled with indeed a lot more tomb guard than literally anywhere else that he has been in. Jihan stares straight up into the darkness, as hundreds of eyes stare right back at him now, and warn him clearly not to go any further at all, before they soon made it here now. Jihan continued onward to drag them through the floor then, and to make really sure that they didn't make much noise, he also used forceful strength to close their mouths up fully as Jihan tied them up securely. One specific of the players even says clearly that Jihan will make just an enemy out of their guild there, if he continues on treating them exactly like that truly. But the honest truth is that the infamous Black Eagle Guild will most undoubtedly likely not want anything at all to do with Troll, just like those types of them. Then lastly, to make sure completely that they don't struggle much, Jihan used simply his finger to poke directly at their pressure points gently, causing all the remaining strength to leave their body entirely. That's indeed something that only a truly advanced level martial artist, which surely is an advanced warrior class as well too, can effectively do right at this specific rate. Realistically, they will unfortunately be dragged around just meaninglessly now, and there's simply nothing they can do now to stop. The warrior remembers quickly that Jihan is very sensitive indeed about his knee, but before he can even utter anything at all, his mouth is shut extremely tight with great force, stopping him surely from doing something incredibly stupid. As he drags them quickly through the ground to ensure that they don't die here, he passively heals them consistently, so that they don't die from the fairly rough treatment given. Finally now, they make it to the ominous 6th floor, where they are confronted promptly by multiple monsters hiding deeply in the shadow. They are all essentially the same clay soldiers that he fought once before, and there are a whole lot more of them this particular time. Jihan is fully prepared now for their imminent attack, and parries swiftly a sword aimed directly at his teammate. Then, to make very sure that he's absolutely not distracted, he grabs his bunched up crew instantly and tosses them promptly to the center of the large room. Now that he simply doesn't have any distractions here, he sets off rapidly clearing out the approaching clay soldiers around them, except quite unlike before, after quickly slicing them all down, the soldiers revive quickly and thousands more emerge now from the deep shadow. The stark fact that their very eyes are glowing now means definitively that they are in berserker combat mode now. Right then, a linked quest suddenly appears out of complete nowhere now, and urgently urges Jihan to swiftly kill all the guards around. It's been quite a while indeed since he got a linked quest before, and the last specific time was during the tense defense map challenge, to ensure specifically that his teammates aren't attacked at all. While his back is turned completely, he firmly places a shield over them now to fully protect them well. Then specifically to test how good it really is indeed, he firmly smacks his very own sword directly against it now, confirming clearly that it's sturdy enough truly to survive almost anything that the clay soldiers might potentially throw directly at it soon. He also reinforces it further with a potent force field there, made from his own force power here, creating now a true double layer of very strong protection now. Now that clearly he doesn't have to actively protect them now, he surely can focus fully on going all out truly to take down these enemy soldiers now. He starts specifically by using his ultimate absolute territory ability now, stopping cleanly all the enemy soldiers right before they can get too close now to him specifically. No matter truly how many times he often uses this special ability here, he legitimately can't get over fully just how overpowered specifically it truly is now. All the movements of anyone who comes within his territory are absolutely slowed right down. Then with just his very hands, he can overpower absolutely everything. It's quite a shame that Baron had such an amazing skill, but only used it to reinforce his raw mana power. Now that he has the clay soldiers under his territory's control, it's finally time for him to get this whole thing over with. With one truly massive attack, he sends all the soldiers flying high, and immediately clears the whole quest with absolutely no issue. With the 6th floor well taken care of now, they finally proceed onward to the Emperor's royal room. There they meet face to face the Conqueror himself, who is indeed the very reason that all party members must be alive, for the quest here to be fully completed. He welcomes them there and calls them plunderers who want to steal his gold. The very clear condition of this final stage here is simple. All 4 party members fully need to give a respectful bow to the Conqueror, and stand then in some specific area. He throws now the 3 stooges on the hard ground, and uses direct force to untie their tight rope, then forces them directly to walk towards the designated spots now, so they can bow thanks to his high level and his impressive force stat. Even though the distance between the areas where each player must bow now is significantly high indeed, Jihan is confident that he surely can do it. He successfully makes all the players stand in the appropriate places now, then he's able to skillfully make them bow to the ground there. Once he is absolutely sure that they have all bowed appropriately now, he then joins them on the very ground, successfully fully completing the quest itself. A gate opens up wide for them to return to their own world soon. But despite the simple fact that he has already cleared the entire quest, Jihan isn't really moving. He's suddenly got a hidden quest from the system, which requires him now to show genuine respect to the Conqueror's statue there, for a grand reward of 5,000 achievement points indeed, as well as the powerful Conqueror's arrow too. The arrow is truly so big that it's basically a mighty spear now, and if he really can complete this very quest, then he will certainly get that spear as a grand reward too. But Jihan still can't figure out what the system really means by genuine respect at all. To test the waters out, Jihan drags one of the other players towards him now, and then tosses him up high towards the Emperor there. As a show of utmost, genuine respect, you see, the golden horse, that the Emperor is sitting on now, grabs the player, and chews him right up, killing him off instantly now. The Emperor takes a moment just to consider what Jihan is doing there, then asks our MC if the king of plunderers he's referring to exactly is the Conqueror himself really? Jihan confirms that a conqueror truly is the epitome of plundering now, and he is merely trying to show his genuine respect now. Then he tells the giant statue that instead of all the gold in this room here, what he really wants instead is the arrow there, that is currently resting on the conqueror's bow right there. To know the true value of that arrow and plunder here, it is the genuine respect that the system requires him to show now, and that is clearly the condition to clear this hidden quest now. In an instant here, the statue shows a large grin, then bursts right out into insane laughter there. It looks like it is pleased indeed by Jihan's show of respect, and it praises him greatly for it too. As a reward then, he will grant Jihan the treasure indeed, for having shown such true and genuine respect now. Jihan fully knows where this is going, and grabs his sword to prepare for it all, as the statue draws those phoenix arrows way back now, and takes deadly aim directly towards Jihan indeed. The surrounding air becomes unbelievably, unbearably hot, as the conqueror fully draws back the arrow now, and the others present can barely even breathe right now. They catch a light from the power of the phoenix, flames fully filling the room, and even Jihan catches a light too. Fire as well. Things clearly have gotten very dangerous, and as it now stands indeed, he's not quite sure now that he will be able to hold out until the very end. It frankly doesn't matter if his teammates happen to die, but the immediate problem is that the very moment that they are dead now, their weapon, which he has been so graciously borrowing just now, will disappear completely as well. Jihan surely needs to resolve this before that all happens. The room gets so incredibly hot that even the gold starts to melt swiftly, and the conqueror hasn't even actually shot the arrow yet now. One of the other players tragically dies from the overwhelming sheer heat, leaving behind just Jihan and the warrior there. The intense heat is overwhelming, and Jihan can truly feel it inside his body now. At his current weakened state, Jihan definitely cannot face that arrowhead head-on, so the only slim hope he has now is to aim directly for the bow itself. Before he fully shoots the powerful arrow, he utilizes another incredible skill that used to be a part of the nameless divine technique, now called the awe-inspiring ultra-speed stab. Just a moment before the conqueror has a real chance to fully shoot the arrow, Jihan swiftly uses the stab to powerfully toss the sword straight at the bow's core, snapping the bow clean in half indeed, before the conqueror has a mere chance to even shoot the arrow correctly, causing the phoenix arrow to fall uselessly to the ground then. At that pivotal moment, the statue's wicked grin disappears quickly, and he asks Jihan directly for his true name. Then, remarkably, he stops referring to Jihan as just a mere plunderer, and begins to refer to him now as a noble and worthy warrior instead. Then, impressively, he passes the arrow right over to Jihan as a reward for bravely showing true genuine respect, just exactly as he had initially thought. The majestic arrow is so incredibly big that it certainly can be used as a spear now. Then the ancient statue directly tells Jihan that he looks forward still to the very day they can then meet in a more honorable battlefield indeed. In the future, the BattleNet has countless battlefields now, so it's quite inevitable that they will meet again soon. But until then, truly, Jihan will gladly use this brand new weapon to its fullest potential now, as he admires the spear so keenly. His viewers are much more concerned about the ability now that he used before to break the bow fast. It was so incredibly fast that slow motion isn't even enough now to see what happened at all. That's because the ultra speed stab isn't just super incredibly fast indeed, it's also a very technique that precisely aims directly at one key point. With a thin sword very chewy indeed, the sheer fact that he was able to use it then means that he's really getting better at controlling the Nameless One. Divine arts indeed. The first time he drew out this power ability, it was very unstable and consumed quite a lot of his strength then. But now then, the more that he uses this unique skill now, the much more refined and stable it then becomes so truly. At this rate now, he will be able to manifest the basic forms of martial arts too now that he has indeed completed the hidden quest completely. He has also now been acknowledged fully by the Conqueror too, and has been exempted clearly from the test on the 7th floor itself, since he doesn't have to worry at all about the test on the 7th floor anymore. Truly, there's absolutely no reason to let a guy that stabbed him right in the back even make it to number 1 completely anyway. He walks swiftly over to the warrior nearby, who is still mostly just barely waking up slowly after the intense heat that engulfed the whole room now. Then Jihan precisely uses his new spear to stab right at the man now, ending his own life in one instant swiftly. The whole game then ends and Jihan returns to the school rooftops high above, where it surely seems like everyone was indeed watching his intense fight in the dungeon after all. The spear there is easily, most definitely the most impressive thing yet, and it's really crazy that he got something so quite valuable from just a bronze dungeon indeed. He turns swiftly to Heian and Gaiyong nearby, who were evidently also watching the intense stream too, and firmly announces that he got first place again this time, just like he promised initially. That definitely means that he actually won the bet clearly, and as his reward now, Heian has to show him her own status window. Heian flinches slightly, and Jihan initially truly thinks that she wants to go back on her word now, but she's more anxious really about the giant spear though, that he's currently holding behind him there. It's filled with such overwhelming raw power that Gaiyang is almost forced to instinctively draw her very own sword indeed. After he puts the large spear away safely, she willingly shows him her current status window, just like she promised faithfully. But she's still so embarrassed about showing it off to him like this. Seeing it himself readily confirms exactly what he thought indeed. She truly has the fostering gift ability, which readily allows her to foster other various players now. Gaiyang watches onward worriedly from the sidelines there, as Heian seemingly dies really from utter embarrassment. She strongly hates talking much about her precious gift, and she was so terribly upset that she spent so much real money for such a real garbage gift. Honestly, she was truly so upset now. She started wondering just why she even went to the academy then, in the first place at all. And she ended up talking quite badly about the academy at any chance she truly got. But now, she has to reveal her fostering ability at the very same academy too. Of all places, Jihan right now, on the other hand, isn't saying anything indeed, and Hien looks up at him only to catch him smiling at her instead. She thinks maybe that he's laughing at her then, but he clarifies clearly that he's happy instead really. Then he pulls out his phone and simply asks for her phone number now. Hien reminds him sharply that she lost the bet frankly, but he tells her simply that he just wants her number still. Then she tells him that her number is on the business card of course that she gave him before, but then he tells her quite simply that he lost it though. That's basically telling her straight that he simply has no interest at all. But now all of a sudden, he's directly asking for her number now. Hien can't truly get rid of the strong feeling that he's just playing around with her, and her fierce ego just simply can't take that sort of thing. But she ultimately ends up giving him her number regardless right now, even saving her very name in his phone with a sweetheart, too. Then she quickly turns all around and sharply walks away just then, smugly turning her head all around again, to see just exactly how he would react to the specific way she saved her name right now. Instead of actually being taken aback or simply shocked at all, Jihan just quite lightly laughs, and then tells her very clearly that he will call soon. That's the absolute last straw right there for her shattered ego, and she badly wants to yell out at it, but just barely truly holds herself right back now. Elsewhere in the big school, Jihan keenly watches her uncle's first real dungeon run with her own classmate, and they are each and all impressed deeply by just how strong he happens to be now. Hisu though, doesn't particularly seem as happy as the others genuinely do about Jihan's great accomplishment. In very fact, she almost truly looks quite angry, but she's quickly broken out of her daze by one of her classmates that, calling her very name now. The girl asks Heezu if she also notices how truly different Jihan looked, compared to merely just a month ago that, the last time Heezu actually went to see his house, Jihan looked like some unemployed alcoholic bum himself, and now he is turned into this amazing person altogether, who even has one of her other classmates swooning in utter glee. Sia can't help shedding tears of pure joy at the very fact that her uncle had become someone quite so respectable indeed. Heezu then reminds Saya that her 18th birthday is now coming up, which also surely means that the very day she officially becomes a player is truly coming up. Everyone awakens as a player when they turn 18, allowing them to indeed see their status windows too. The other students also do remember that important fact, and the very fact that she must be quite nervous about it all. Battle.net Academy. Students eagerly await the very day that they can all become players. After spending quite so much time with various classes themselves, and undergoing so much training now, the gift room is the absolute biggest reason for the academy existing today, and all of the students are also quite interested in the gifts now. The other students start to wonder if Sia will receive a gift as well then, and some already think that it will be at least an S-rank gift indeed. After all, her dad has an impressive SSS rank gift, it's true. Her mom was an SS rank and also a saintess it seems, and there are even rumors that her uncle is at least an S rank perhaps. With all of those talents present in her family now, there's absolutely no way she won't be just as powerful as they are soon. Although there has already been some research done that proves now, genetics has absolutely nothing to do with gifts now. Still, despite all of that research though, she still really hopes that she will get something quite good. Her birthday is just a little over 1 week away now, so she indeed has been really anxious about it now. But Heezu truly tries to be there to comfort her then. She tells Saya clearly to look forward to a very good gift that she will get on her birthday there. Meanwhile now, in the Neo Self-Defense Force training hall in Japan itself, countless unconscious people lay behind the incredible Sword King here. As solid proof of his intense training session today, the keen onlookers can only now wonder if the Sword King has always been quite this powerful truly. However, it's been certainly made clear through this training session now that the Sword King has definitively gotten even stronger, and all his abilities are now higher indeed than before. Now that matters have gotten truly to this level, everyone right in the Neo Self-Defense Force is eagerly looking quite forward to the actual day when Ida Ryuhei will soon debut right in the fight between Korea and Japan at the Divergent Guild headquarters now. Heian is really having a very heated conversation with someone close over the phone. She's currently talking to her father actually, who strongly wants her to try and pursue a serious relationship with someone she honestly doesn't like at all though. They both continue to argue indeed, and her father continues to really try and encourage her now to get married as soon as physically possible, and inevitably eventually. She unfortunately gets so quite upset that she ends the call abruptly right on it. Gyeong suddenly comes into the room right now to check what's indeed going on there, and Haeyeon simply doesn't even hide the key fact that she's very upset now. She left her beloved home and her life all behind, because her very own father kept on persistently trying to force her to marry people that were way too old now, or simply unlikable truly. This time around he forced her to go on a date with an overweight man, a balding old man from the Neo Self-Defense Force indeed. It was a really quite bad and uncomfortable situation now, and this has been her ongoing life for as long as she has been in marriage. Despite the simple fact that she's truly rich here, it doesn't stop her father from still wanting her to marry someone truly wealthy. Gyeong suggests now that Haeyeon go and rest back at home now, but she firmly declines the offer, since she's far more comfortable in the Divergent Guild headquarters after all. Then Heon simply takes a moment to apologize to her loyal bodyguard there, seemingly out of absolutely nowhere too. She certainly knows that Gyeong doesn't have all that much time to herself though, because she is diligently working as a devoted bodyguard now, and specifically with her shining S-rank gift too. Her unique talents would have been certainly much more useful elsewhere also. Gyeong truly doesn't mind it though, and she assures Haeyeon calmly that being a bodyguard truly is her duty, and something definitive that she has chosen to do willingly. For now she'll just hold on tightly until Haeyeon inherits the company full, although the Divergent Guild recruiter doesn't exactly want to do so now. Instead, truthfully, she wants to be quite independent now, so she can fully earn her own money and live the very kind of life she desired, without her parents nagging her persistently to get married now. That indeed would have been a noble cause, it's true, if only not for this simple fact here. Haeyeon's main current way of earning her own money truly is solely through gambling, even if it may be legal still. But Haeyeon persistently keeps losing on each and every gamble serious, which certainly makes it very unlikely that she will make her own money this specific way. But this present time she is absolutely sure that she will be able to win something notably big now. This time itself definitely. That is all simply because of the Korea vs Japan matchup coming quite soon. It's a rather deeply sad situation in reality, but almost all the Koreans notably are betting consistently on Japan winning. People surely don't want to openly say it directly but simply everyone truly knows deep down that Japan is clearly going to win now. Her phone vibrates softly in her hand with a message from Jihan now, and the serious contents of the message cause her eyes to go wide with true shock. The very next day, Jihan is surely making good now on his promise to treat Diego to some truly good food. As a sincere thanks for the important help during the tough defense mission, the appreciative two of them go now to a fancy restaurant, where Diego actually gets his very first taste of fine Korean beef, and even he certainly can tell that it's quite expensive indeed. Jihan truly doesn't mind this though, and tells him directly to ask for absolutely anything else he might want now. He asks quickly for a drink and Jihan promptly orders him some soju too. In just a quick split second, Diego perfectly mixes it all up well, even notably better than Diego would have been easily able to do himself. Then he immediately takes a large bite of the delicious meat, and it's so very good that Diego truly can barely even speak right now. Now that the thankful two of them have finally gotten well acquainted, Jihan nicely tells Diego directly to speak more casually and just quite comfortably. The two of them gladly chat and freely drink, and as the nice day goes happily on, Diego confesses slowly that he's just a bit resentful deep down about the tough way his own life has certainly gone. If it weren't indeed for the battle net, then he wouldn't be living this kind of current life. He was a soccer star then, and one of the best in all the world, but in just the blink of an eye there, he fell to rock bottom so harshly because of that fact. He couldn't get any further support for himself too, and his loving wife and children sadly left him alone. Jihan understands very well what Diego is talking about here. He was once a world star definitely, and he was someone who could have everything he ever truly wanted, but with the sudden birth of the battle net so new, people began increasingly losing interest much in sport, and just like that, he also sadly lost all his dedicated fans. Eventually FIFA and the professional soccer scene would disappear completely, as people truly forgot all indeed about soccer quite fast. Nothing more at all needs to even be said now. When a world-class player is rather forced to live here in Korea, just teaching young kids how to simply play soccer well. Diego stops talking much about himself here then, and suggests right now that they fully get to the real point. Jihan recently advised him towards becoming a mage, and he deeply wants to know why. It's specifically because of the rare gift that Diego possesses. It reinforces any and all equipment that closely resembles a soccer ball, and quite impressively, it's an SSS rank gift as well too. Because of that unique gift, Diego carries a soccer ball wherever he then goes, but he truly doesn't know if he is just what it takes to be a mage, since his raw mana stat is considerably really bad. To fully show his true sincerity now, Jihan summons a special item that he got specifically for Diego indeed. It's a powerful Arachnus orb, and it's a notable B-rank magical item from the strong spider tribe. The entire orb is carefully wrapped in a strong spider's web, making it very elastic, and since spiders only ever have feet, this very orb is considered a ball in truth. Therefore, that makes it the perfect key equipment for Diego now. This very item will bring out the real and true Diego, who was the most powerful mage to ever fully exist in Jihan's past life. Diego nervously and anxiously asks how much it is truly, and Jihan tells him directly that it's about 50 million won, and the mere mention of the insane price immediately sobers up Diego quickly. That's indeed more expensive than the down payment on his very house. Normally Diego wouldn't never be able to buy something quite like this, even after a full 10 long years of saving fund. Jihan truly isn't done just yet though, and he has much more to offer now. He wants to give Diego the orb as a valuable gift, and he plans to support Diego financially too now. The former soccer star simply can't believe what Jihan is saying at all, but our main character isn't quite done here. He wants Diego to join the guild that he will then create later, when he eventually reaches that silver rank status. Naturally Diego now wants to know if Jihan has enough money for it now, and our main character is quite confident that he truly does now, although he's also quite sure that he's about to make a whole lot more too. Then he proceeds to show Diego his mobile phone, and whatever exactly is on it there is enough to cause the soccer star to think that Jihan has officially now lost his very mind. It's those predictions now of the match that will indeed happen between Japan and Korea soon, and it predicts now that Korea will have one single win and 3 losses. He then sends the exact same information to Haein now, but she simply doesn't quite believe it, so there's truly no way that Korea will be able to win against the Sword King. But Jihan's prediction will be proven right soon enough now, because the grand time for the Korea vs Japan round has finally fully arrived now. Diego just can't believe that Jihan thinks that Korea will even get one single win. It's almost nearly impossible for him to imagine imagine that actually happening now. He's definitely not looking down on the entire Korean team, but the powerful Sword King is on a whole other formidable level here. He's someone so very powerful that he can take on an entire team completely on his own. Jihan certainly understands why that would be hard for anyone to believe, yeah, but it's definitely easier if he fully shows it than if he tries to explain it. Then Jihan picks up a remote swiftly and turns on a TV beside their table now, showing the crucial match happening completely live. The major international competition is officially set to now begin here, and the very conditions to win are clear. Is that one team must decisively defeat all the players on the opponent team itself. There will be a total of 5 rounds in all, and the very first team to get swiftly to 3 wins is the ultimate winner of the fierce battle. Rua immediately now starts the charge, and emphatically tells his teammates directly to follow his very lead forward. But indeed the rest of them are hesitant. They truly don't want to follow his lead now, and they don't acknowledge him as a teammate at all. It's not just purely because he's Korean then, but also because they have had another member before, who has been their longtime teammate throughout. That very person had to be removed then, for the Sword King to participate in this competition final. Because of that harsh fact, they don't want to follow along with Ryuhai's plan, as they are fiercely arguing now. One of the Korean players starts it off indeed with a powerful attack, aimed directly at Ryuhai. The attack lands perfectly surprising everyone so on the Japanese team, as well as even the Korean team too. They see this clearly as an opportunity here, and rush to push the attack before he can recover soon. Their primary goal is to take down the Sword King first off, and then go for the others somewhat later then. Rua stops them in the paths with a simple swing now of his sword, slashing the ground in front of them before they can make it to him ever. Then, as a shocking show of true rebellion, he stabs himself gravely in the chest now, taking himself swiftly out of this first round of the competition. That gives the very first kill to the Korean team now, shocking the entire gathered crowd quite greatly. It was officially recorded as the Korean team's quick kill, even though Ryuhai clearly took himself right out. Now Jihan's bold prediction is starting to fully make sense, but the key question is how he even knew that this was surely going to happen. Jihan simply can't reveal all of that just yet, but he tells Diego now to focus closely on the match alone for now. With Ryuhai taken cleanly out, the Korean team has an easy time here, eliminating all of the remaining Japanese players present, giving the very first win of the match clearly to Korea now. The coveted MVP role goes swiftly to the support, who cast the fateful spell that originally hit the Sword King directly in the very first place, and just like that then, things have dramatically taken a completely unexpected turn entirely, but they are now exactly what Jihan boldly predicted beforehand. Everything is keenly going exactly the same way it did in his prior past life too, even right down to the dividend rates of the betting app now. Back there in the recovery area now, the Japanese players confront Ryuhai for his rash decision just now. He's truly the nation's representative after all, and he just casually killed himself to prove a rather strong point. Ryuhai is quite tired of their constant whining really, and calls them a simple bunch of trash without any sense of professionalism at all. He can see quite clearly now why they lost to Korea every single time before, and he's truly tired of being around it all now. He certainly doesn't care about their childish friendships now, and he calmly tells them exactly that truth. If they just don't recognize him as their leader after all, then he will kill himself in every single round, until they truly do with the choices laid out right before them now. They have absolutely no other option truly left but to accept Ryuhai as their leader right now. If they still want to win, the second round immediately starts now, and the Korean side is really just as confused as last time too. They simply don't understand why Ryuhai killed himself right out of nowhere then. They initially wonder if he's some sort of spy or something like that, but they quickly see that that really is not the case here. The Ryuhai right on the battlefield now is clearly more than willing to really fight now, and he has a completely different atmosphere now around him than last time indeed. The Korean team stays alert now and prepares to strongly defend, but in just the blink of an eye now, Ryuhai has delivered an attack quite so powerful that it hits 3 of them now, all with really one hit here. The raw power itself of the attack surely shocks the players and all the audience now, as they realize now the overwhelming gap there in power indeed. Then he just follows up with another attack that, immediately killing off the last remaining player now, who somehow survived his vicious attack just now. The Korean audience trembles now in sheer fear, while the Japanese audience screams in pure joy and chants Ryui's given name. The Sword King indeed defeated the South Korean team with just only 2 swift attacks there, and that quickly equalizes all the scores there. As quite expected now with the Sword King's big return, Japan easily takes the 3rd full round just as well here, and the 4th total round is not much different at all now. The Korean whole team can barely truly show any real resistance now against Ryuhai's overwhelming power show, and it ended up being a completely one-sided defeat now by Korea. By the 4th round, they try to put up a harsher fight indeed, putting absolutely everything they have into this fight, but it's ultimately pointless it seems. Even with both his hands now bound, he's still somehow able to move the sword there with some other power, and break his chains, surely defeating them one by one one without missing a beat at all. It's only the archer and also the mage left standing, and they both struggle greatly to hold their ground firm. But it's no point truly with their attention completely focused on Ryuhei only. The other team is able to take down the archer quickly with a cheap shot certainly, before he even notices it all. The other members still of the Japanese team are there perhaps, after all surely, and they can still put up quite a fight here. However minuscule the fight might be still, with only the mage still left standing now, Ryuhei personally goes right up to finish her off quickly. He does this all now with a new ability he seems to have indeed called Sword Flight. So cool. The two players surely make some small talk there, and the mage doesn't let her inevitable loss pass to stop her indeed from taunting Ryuhei so, on his rash decision, really, to leave Korea and show off in Japan. Ryuhei doesn't let her cutting words get to him though, and tells her firmly that she would have been able to survive much longer if her fighting skills were at least half as good, indeed, as her talk skills, quite not willing to go down, no, without a fierce fight. The mage activates now a spell that boosts her power mightily, but before she can fully activate, you see, it now, the Sword King decides to try out a very new technique on her now, bringing down a truly giant sword of pure light over her head there, which leaves nothing at all, but a huge crater in the arena's middle. The fierce match is now over and is quite expected so. It's an overwhelming victory, certainly, for Japan today. It's truly hard to swallow indeed for the Korean team sadly, but they are determined to come back, yes, stronger no matter what will come. Diego is just shocked now that Jihan predicted the outcome so precisely really. He lies smoothly that he saw all of this in a vivid dream now, and now that dream has greatly helped him win a mountain of quick money. That's perfect for him yes, but it doesn't ease his very worry then, over the sheer performance now that he saw just from Ryuhei there. The Sword King is indeed much stronger than Jihan remembers now, and at this very rate our MC won't be able to decisively defeat it. In fact truly, the nameless divine arts might not even now be enough to go strongly against him. On top of all that, he also has an SSS rank gift termed the Twin Sword Piece, which in effect makes him even more deadly overall. All of the stats perhaps may be against him it seems, but Jihan simply doesn't care at all. He will surely make sure that no matter how strong the Sword King ultimately becomes, he himself will become even stronger without fail. The two of them will clash eventually one day, and it'll absolutely be a fight for the very ages. Someone else entirely is a lot more excited about her payout from the betting indeed than Jihan is though for sure. Hyen actually managed to make 200,001 from just a mere 5,000. She never quite imagined that this day would really come, and it's all thanks entirely to Jihan himself. Unfortunately though she ended up in roughly about 20,000 in debt from the total earnings in this very game. After she followed Jihan's invaluable advice overall, Hyen was quite sure that South Korea would lose 0-3, and so, she bet more sharply against. She bet a strong 200,000 on her firm sure that Korea would soon face an overwhelming defeat without any single victory, and that's exactly how she ended up with a net loss indeed. Back now with Jihan and also Diego. The next question is today's true main topic now. The stark fact that Jihan urgently wants to make a contract with the football star. Diego simply doesn't quite understand why Jihan suddenly wants to make a quick contract with him, out of the clear blue nowhere. Because he truly doesn't see himself as worth all that much effort. But Jihan is very sure that this contract will be very worth it. He now tells Diego directly that the very same foresight he firmly used to predict the outcome of the Korea-Japan match is the exact same thing he is deeply using to tell that Diego will definitely be a very valuable asset in the future timeline. Jihan is now very confident indeed in that firm decision, and that's clearly why he wants to quickly bring Diego to his very side no matter the high cost. Diego is indeed said to become the world's strongest mage sometime, and this said contract is nothing more than a vital investment from Jihan now. Diego simply hasn't had someone chase after him quite this much now, since those very days as a shining football star back then. He truly missed being a vital aspect of someone's own team so much. After Battle.net itself was created there, he even thought that he would never experience this feeling ever again. Now Jihan has truly come out of nowhere just to show him a brand new ray of hope. There's absolutely no reason for him to refuse such a generous offer at all. Diego happily gets up quickly from his chair there, and stretches his hand right across the table to shake firmly with Jihan there. He will never quite forget the inherent kindness that Jihan has surely shown him today, and he's entirely determined to pay him back a full 10,000 times over now. Jihan smiles ever so lightly at it, and tells him that he is eagerly waiting indeed for that very day to come. Meanwhile, elsewhere far away now, Gaiyang is facing her very own battles in a gladiator match all of her own there. She's simply not quite as skilled as Jihan is, but she still easily takes out her competition as always right now, and is well known for constantly placing right at the very top indeed. In any mission she's actually put in people often team up to take her down swiftly because of this skill, but she's always notably able to send them flying with with great ease. The exciting game ends as she takes out the very last 2 threats and brings down the total numbers significantly. And once again, inevitably, she places first overall. Her final result of 5 kills isn't particularly bad at all truly, but she simply can't be satisfied with just this minimal result anymore. She absolutely has to get stronger now to compare to the high-ranking Sword King, who clearly showed overwhelming power fully during the Korea-Japan match recently, and also importantly to Jihan, who notably has grown into an undefeated legend now. Gyeong started slacking off noticeably after she entered the Divergent Guild recently, and therefore she just has to do better actively going forward now. Saya presently is facing similar struggles currently on her end here, and consequently, she reads a fresh article now about her father's recent victory, with a rather pained subtle look showing clearly on her face. She then actively tries to play it casually off, but Heezu notably can tell just purely from the quiet expression on her face directly that Saya definitely isn't in a positive, good place emotionally at the moment currently. The kind vice president offers willingly to stay at Saya's place specifically for the day, to actively help reassure her substantially, but Saya politely declines the kind offer full. She's just quite happy that Heezu was willing to drive her home now, since her dear uncle was busy with work and couldn't pick her up today at all. The driver even apologizes personally too, again, for making a grave mistake in challenging Jihan for truly no real reason the other day now. Then Heezu brings up another pressing topic that the two have talked about previously before, and asks if Saya has given it any further thought now. The Sword King's daughter too still seems hesitant to fully agree to whatever they discussed then. Their quiet conversation is cut short all the same though, when the car comes to a quite sudden stop then. Heezu angrily asks her driver just why he stopped so suddenly now, but the clear reason is crowding right in front of the car instead. As they speak now, they have arrived at the Sword Palace then, and right in front of this building now, there's a large crowd of people seemingly waiting just for her then. Jihan has finished his meeting with Diego and makes his own way home too. Across the rooftops now, he notices that he feels a lot lighter now, that his strength has increased quite well, and he has also greatly grown indeed as a result. He takes a quiet moment to admire the view from atop a tall building and sits across the very edge, watching the peaceful, quiet streets far below him now. He often used to relax on rooftops in the past time, back when he lived in the United States before, and this makes him feel somewhat nostalgic for his past. Now he has truly gotten a first-person view of the kind of person Ryuhei was in that era. In true reality that he never once got a chance to fight the Sword King himself in his past life before, during that era where half of Earth's countries had disappeared completely, and he started becoming one of the high rankers indeed. The Sword King, who had been the top-ranked warrior ever, suddenly disappears completely without even leaving a single trace. Jihan still truly has no idea why he vanished just then. He's definitely as strong as Jihan was at his very peak too. Just simply because he's growing quickly now doesn't quite mean that Jihan can afford to take any kind of break at all. He fully has to grow and become even stronger than he was way back then. To do all of that, he truly needs to achieve the full nameless divine arts promptly. Now that he's certainly done resting, he continues his long journey homeward, where a truly startling scene is awaiting him all along. Hisu's driver then tries to shift the people away now, so that Saya can quickly pass, but there are just too many of them present. These persistent people are reporters definitely, and they are all right here to try and get first-hand interviews with Sia now. Despite the larger man's attempts to hold them all back sternly, they all keep desperately trying to push through to reach the car itself. They keep intently asking her questions about the Sword King's match today too, and even accuse her falsely of antagonizing the Sword King early, with her rather prior statements direct. They keep aggressively trying to approach the car like vultures perhaps, and the current scene starts to get incredibly overwhelming indeed for Sia, who is clearly still trying to process the entire complex thing now. Sia quickly covers her face instantly, as the persistent reporters press their cameras to the car door there, hoping eagerly to get a single peek of her quickly, precisely because of that alone. She doesn't notice now the subtle smirk on her friend's face, as she pretends to comfort the distressed girl so well. Behind them there, an angry voice calmly calls out to them now as Jihan approaches. Then he uses sheer force to push all the reporters away now, and create a comfortable space quite for himself to reach the car. The reporters are still relentless truly, and they accuse Jihan of laying his hands right on innocent reporters, who are just only trying to do their jobs well. They even accuse him now of not caring about his public opinion. On the contrary indeed though, he really truly cares about his public image indeed. That's simply the reason why he's treating them so kindly now, despite just how angry he really is inside. The enraged look right on his face is enough to shut the reporters up firmly, and force them quite to look away right now, and he reminds them all that they should be quite grateful that things ended here. So she reaches the car quickly, where Saya is still just covering her face in distress now, and kindly truly tells her now that they should just go home now. As the two of them leave the car finally, Jihan truly takes a moment to thank the driver for trying hard to protect her. Then he simply walks away from the car then, as he soon wishes the two of them goodbye so quick. Once they are far enough away from earshot clearly, Hizu bursts straight into laughter now that she almost couldn't quite hold back during the whole ordeal now. The other reporters quickly notice her as she laughs aloud. She is actually the daughter of the owner of South Korea's #1 media outlet. You see, it's surely sad that Seoya has to go through all this, you know, and Hizu smiles softly as she silently reminds the poor girl that it's all completely over for her now. Meanwhile, Ryuhei goes on public television once again it seems, claiming clearly that he doesn't even have a daughter period. He abandoned his past life and came over to Japan itself truly, and he says indeed that if he has something that can be even called a daughter at all, then she is simply nothing to him clearly. Now that's clearly the big interview that caused this huge fuss here, and Jihan can barely even hold back his building anger at his former brother-in-law. Quite frankly, is acting horribly towards his only child even. Despite his anger though, indeed, he's more genuinely worried about Saya now. His dear niece had just finally started to brighten up again, and this came completely out of nowhere to truly ruin all their progress. Her very expression has darkened once again it seems, and he can't help but deeply feel terrible now that things truly are reaching this particular point. Suddenly though, Saya directly calls out to him and firmly asks if he remembers the promise he made to carefully listen to any request of hers. Really, the promise was firmly made when she herself decided that she would assist him to find the elusive Shadow Queen. She now thinks it's the time that he fulfills that special promise indeed, because she sincerely thinks that she has actually found the shadow herself. After lots of extensive searching, Jihan's widened eyes show it all as Saya pulls out her mobile phone and directly shows him a compelling video that she found, which powerfully reveals the true Shadow Queen's actual identity. Oh, true indeed. And that's really all we have available time for. Jihan truly has quite a lot on his plate going forward right now, but it truly looks like Sia is strong enough now, not just to handle herself, but also to help him out greatly. How will the discovery of the Shadow Queen now change the very course of the whole story perhaps? We simply have to wait a bit to find out. Real